What is going on, everyone? This is Miles with Windows Central Gaming, and welcome to the 17th episode of Xbox Chaturdays. Today, I am joined by the legendary master of hype himself, SnowBikeMike. How you doing on this fine Saturday, my man?
Miles, I'm up. I'm smiling because I get to hang out with you. I get to talk Xbox with you. We got snow out here in Tahoe, and you know I love a little winter dumpage, just like some of my favorite games, like SSX Tricky, Amp 3. But we'll get into that later. We'll get into that later.
All right.
But I'm feeling good on a Saturday. I'm really excited to hang out with you and just chat Xbox with you and all the best friends around the globe.
Yeah, it's going to be a grand old time. For those of you who don't know, SnowBikeMike is one of the hosts of the Kinda Funny Xcast. Super fun dude, and I'm super stoked to have him on. We have some pretty spicy topics to cover today. We're going to be talking about the Elden Ring leak, the trailer that popped out. I'm going to be making a address on my the latest reports you might have seen going around about From Software making a sci-fi RPG. And then we're going to be talking about the Bethesda Xbox acquisition, as that's most likely closed, and we'll be hearing some news very soon, and the future of big business from Xbox. Where is Xbox going to throw that money next? But first, SnowBikeMike, tell the people who you are, where they can find you, and why you love Xbox.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm SnowBikeMike. Of course, I am in here, beautiful Lake Tahoe, California, enjoying the snow, enjoying a lot of video games. I love Xbox because I grew up with Xbox, right? My fondest memories were playing Halo 2 with all of my friends, multiplayer, screaming and yelling, having a good time, moving into Gears of War and thinking, oh my gosh, did I just Lancer that Locust Horde in half? Oh, it was wild. And so I've always just been a gamer at heart. I love Xbox so much because that's been my environment. That's been my ecosystem, my community. And I just enjoy playing on the Xbox, and it's been a ton of fun. I currently work for Kinda Funny. I'm one of the hosts and faces that you'll see, whether it be on the Twitch streams Monday through Friday or over on the Kinda Funny Xcast. It's been a really great growth opportunity for me, right? We started the Kinda Funny Xcast with myself, Gary Whitta, and the incredible Alana Pierce. And we've had so much fun. And as Alana moved on to bigger and better things with Sony Santa Monica, we've got to welcome in Paris Lily. And these are people that I get to learn from, I get mentored by, and I just enjoy the conversations with. And so today I'm really excited to join you, Miles, because you're somebody I look up to, somebody I enjoy your content, somebody I love to listen to, just like all of your friends over at Windows Central. And so it's a ton of fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm stoked to have you on. Speaking of Paris, we got our homie hanging out in the chat with us today as well. So if you guys haven't checked out the Xcast, great show, great panel. You got SnowBikeMike, Paris, and Gary Whitta over there. So lots of great conversations. I've seen some funny comments about how it's Mike and then his two gaming dads.
Yes, we're changing the name is to My Xbox and My Two Dads is right. We got a new podcast name coming soon.
Love it. Love the energy, love the vibe, and super stoked to have you on. So before we dive into the Elden Ring kind of leaks and that bit of the show, I have to touch on this wild development that's happened in the last day. It started last night, but I did a silly video about wild Xbox conspiracy theories regarding Phil Spencer's shelves. If you guys haven't seen it, it's fun. We kind of touch on what some of these items could potentially mean for the future of Xbox. Most of it is going to be Xbox Game Pass related, if I had to have an educated prediction. But there was a particular line following a joke about Xbox acquiring From Software and making Elden Ring an Xbox exclusive, where I talk about a sci-fi From Software RPG that I'd heard rumblings about. And then I, immediately following that line, said that likely was not legitimate. At this point, it's hard to say whether or not that's legitimate at all. But the internet did what the internet does, and they isolated that segment where I say I've heard about a sci-fi RPG from FromSoft being an Xbox exclusive, and it's just blown up. Like, before we went live today, I had somebody send me a link from Apple News reporting on this. Miles from Windows Central has reported that From Software is making an Xbox exclusive. And I'm like, it cracks me up because if you've watched the full video, it's pretty obvious what the tone of this is. And it's, even if you want to ignore that line that says this probably isn't legitimate, even if you're completely ignoring that, the opening line of this video is to get your tinfoil hats ready. So we're going down the rabbit hole. Was the vibe of this video. So to me, it's super funny that so many people are taking this and just running with it. I've been tagged so many times. So I just want to say, for prosperity's sake, that I haven't heard this from any super legitimate or verified sources. So just know that was a pretty throwaway line about some wild rumors I had heard regarding a sci-fi From Software RPG being an Xbox exclusive. I did not anticipate that people would take that line and just run with it like the truth. So yeah, just for prosperity's sake, before you tag me in that on Twitter, just know that most of that was just fun. Let's calm down. Let's wait and see what happens. But at this point, there is no reason to believe that that is the truth. And I just wanted to address that because it has gotten way.
You know, I stay silent over here, Miles, because you're making a great statement there, and I don't want to ruin it with a dumb joke like maybe I should keep playing the Surge, or you tell me it's not real, Miles, and start crying. But I love that, and you know that's a tough one, Miles. Right? You got to come out there and just say, "Hey, everybody, let's temper our expectations. Let's understand where I'm coming from." And nice job right there, big dog. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so just wanted to, get it out there, get out in front of it because yeah, it's first it was Reset Era, which I purposely stay far away from Reset Era for a lot of reasons. So I was like, okay, whatever. Reset Era's they're desperate for some news. Then it was Reddit, and I was like, okay, all right, whatever. Reddit's also kind of the Wild West of speculation. And then I start seeing outlets report, like claiming that I reported on this. And it's kind of ironic that people are taking a video about wild conspiracy theories and calling that a report. But yeah, I guess going forward, I will be very obvious when when I'm joking or saying something outlandish, so that way we can avoid some of these issues. Just trying to have a little fun. But I get it. We're gonna get into some From Software stuff. I'm a big Souls bro. Mike is a big Souls bro. The Kinda Funny team has slowly been converting into Souls bros, which I love to see. So the takeover's real. So I guess with that being said, let's go into the Elden Ring leaked trailer from probably about a year ago, it sounds like, based off some stuff that Jeff Grubb and other people who've seen bits of the game have speculated. Have you seen this really high quality, top tier footage?
I got my face as close to the TV as I could to really try to make out as much detail as I could, Miles. It was that kind of situation. And, I did watch it. I've watched it multiple times now. I even watched the up-res 720p version where I'm still watching from a man's phone. Yeah, I mean, let's be real here. I mean, this is not it. You know what I mean? Leaks suck. And to see a game that I know I am so passionate and excited about, and really a community that is starved and hungry for something incredible like this, it does suck to have this be the leak. And like you said, right, this is probably old footage. This is definitely not ready to go out the door footage, and now this to be the piece that really puts a damper on things, but also kind of fuels the fire. There's two sides to this coin, right? And we're gonna have that conversation, you and I, right now.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where I've never seen people so desperate for information about a video game in my life. The cult of Elden Ring is absolutely insane. If you go on this Elden Ring subreddit, it's wild. It's a dark, weird, crazy place filled with people who are bordering on the line of just having a good time and being probably clinically insane. There's a fine line that people are straddling with the Elden Ring subreddit. So I'm excited. I will confidently say that Dark Souls 3 is probably number 1 or 2 of my all-time favorite games. Absolutely perfect masterpiece of a game. So I get it. I get the desire to want more, but you got to wait a little bit. You got to be patient. You got to relax. COVID has thrown a huge wrench in a lot of things, especially for Japanese development, as we've seen. So what are your thoughts on what we have seen so far of the gameplay that's in this trailer? Because it sounds like at this point, there's no question that this is gameplay from Elden Ring at some point.
I mean, it looks like more Dark Souls, right? Honest to God, when you looked at that, sure, it was shot through a potato phone, and really, I can't make out any details, and this isn't what they wanted to show me, right? But when you look at it, it looks like Dark Souls, right?
Mhm.
There's a giant boss coming at you. He's gonna dodge roll. Now he's got a sword. No, he's got a wand. It looks exactly like Dark Souls, and that's what I want, right? I want this new fantasy world that they're creating. Maybe this open world that we're talking about and running around and playing the Dark Souls loop that we all love. But I think some exciting stuff there was like riding out on horseback and chopping that man's head off on horseback looked kind of cool, even though it looked like a polygon horse that I couldn't really make out. If that's true, I'm excited about that, Miles, right? And I loved seeing the different, set pieces that they had, seeing the giant monsters. Like you think of those two giants that were kind of carrying the convoy down. You're like, man, this could be cool. And in like a giant open world setting, this could be fun. But I really, Miles, I don't know, right? I know it's going to be Dark Souls. I know it's going to be a new world. I want to see what George R. R. Martin is bringing to Miyazaki and the team with that kind of world and stuff and what they're building together. But it looked like more Dark Souls, right? That's what we want at the same time.
Yeah, I'm in the camp of I want more Dark Souls. As much as I love games like Bloodborne and Sekiro, to me they didn't satisfy the exact same itch. Similar formula, and I love them for different reasons. But when it comes to the core fundamental class-based, co-op based experience that Dark Souls is, it seems like Elden Ring is going to be that. And this particular trailer kind of backs up some of the leaks that we had heard like immediately after the reveal of this game, that it's going to have open world horseback riding, that it's going to be more high fantasy setting. I actually, when Jeff Grubb posted the trailer on his Twitter, I thought it was I thought it was actually the Lord of the Rings animated like cartoon from the 70s. And I thought he was just making a joke, like making fun of people who wanted Elden Ring information. He's like, here's some Elden Ring. And I was like, is he just playing the trailer from the 70s animated Lord of the Rings? And then I click and I'm like, oh damn, this is actually like gameplay from Elden Ring. But yeah, the quality and the font choice in that particular trailer was a little weird. The tone of that trailer I felt did not really match a FromSoft game. And it sounds like this was probably an internal trailer made by Bandai to kind of like get a feel for the game. But I have a feeling when we get the actual official trailer out there, the tone of the narration and the overall vibe is going to be a lot different and probably darker, more in line with Sekiro, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, what we kind of expect from FromSoft. Even though this is a very much a high fantasy kind of spin-off for them.
You said it well, Miles. I think of the setting, right? And I enjoyed Bloodborne, I enjoyed Sekiro, but I did want to go back to that setting, right? Especially after going Dark Souls 1 through 3 in my case. I loved that world. I liked that fantasy, that medieval type vibe with it, the knights and all the mages and stuff. And when I saw it go back to that, right? I think I kind of got that vibe when we first saw it at that Xbox reveal way back in the day. What was that? E3, I think I might have been at that E3 2019, maybe the year before. But it's one of those like I like going back to that world. I loved the Victorian type Bloodborne-esque one. I didn't really, I liked it. I didn't love it like I loved Dark Souls. So I am excited to jump back into that kind of fantasy world setting. And it's going to be a big deal, right? I like the horseback idea. I like what we're going to see. And I'm currently playing through Demon Souls and like it feels like returning home, especially after playing Sekiro and Bloodborne. Like it feels good to be back in that kind of setting. So if that's what they're hitting on, if that's the target goal, from my little potato video that I got to see, it looked like they're hitting that, Miles. It looked like they're hitting that.
Checking a lot of boxes for me personally. Quick shout out to the 116 folks who've already joined us. If you're new, smash like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But I see a lot of returning folks as well. Synodex, Mr. Joanna Dark, Sergeant Rake, and we got our first super chat from John BX32, who says, "My guy, SnowBikeMike, you've been killing it with the guest, Miles. Great job on the show. Paris next? Question mark. Maybe I've been talking to Paris. Yeah, there might be a Paris guest spot here in the near future. TBD. I'll give you a date when we have that locked in. But yeah, potentially my man Paris in the mix as well. So
he is pretty incredible. And shout out to John B. John B is a huge Xbox fan. John B is one of those best friends out there that reached out to me the moment the Kinda Funny Xcast was announced. He was like, Mike, you got to follow these people. You got to talk to these people. You should be reading this. Mike, bring this person on. And I was like, John, I love the energy. I love the Xbox enthusiasm. That's what I'm here for. And it's so fun to share that with all of the friends around the globe, right? Like you asked me at the beginning, Miles, like, why do you play Xbox? Or like, just in general, why are you a gamer? And it's like, I love the enthusiasm, right? I love sharing the fun with all my friends. I've grown up sharing the fun from GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Halo to Gears, and every multiplayer game in between. And I love seeing your smile when you talk about Dark Souls and what this Elden Ring is going to be. I love hearing Paris talk about Destiny 2. I love seeing Gary Whitta just fire up when he talks about Yakuza. And so to see John B in the chat and all of your friends out there, it's like so awesome because gaming brings us all together. No matter what side you're on, no matter what console you play on, just play and have fun. So that's really awesome. I love seeing all your friends show up for the show.
Yeah, beautifully put. Yeah, this community is awesome. So many fun, passionate people who just legitimately love gaming. Obviously, we can look at the fanboy console wars that kind of permeate the internet, but I feel like that is a very vocal minority. The average person kind of invested in gaming does it because they love video games, not because they love one particular box over another. They love the experiences that they can bring. I still have vivid memories of like playing A Link to the Past for the first time, playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night for the first time, playing Dark Souls for the first time. Like all those memories of games that like completely change what you can envision as a video game are impactful, and people, that's why people love video games, because there's something about this medium that you cannot replicate in movies or music or film. And that's why I think, you know, as we've seen, gaming has become the biggest industry because it connects people in a way that nothing else can.
You know, it's interesting, Miles, before we go back to the leaks and stuff, since we're talking about positivity, we're talking about the gaming world. I can tell you, Miles, that fanboy stuff only happens on social media. That's the only place you ever see it because I've come from working up here on the mountain at Heavenly Mountain Resorts. And for the past 12 years, I would come in and people knew I loved gaming and I had friends all around the resort. And we would just share the enthusiasm for gaming. There was no, oh, that's on Xbox. I'm not playing that. Or, oh, you're on PlayStation. I don't got that. We're not playing that. It was literally like, oh, what game are you playing, Tom? And he would tell me the game. I'd be like, man, that's so cool, dude. Like, that's awesome. And I'd look over at Steve. I'd be like, Steve, what you playing? And he would go down the list and like everybody would come together. And I've made so many friends just through the positivity and the fun of gaming. And that's something I'll always hold with me. And I think that's something I try to hit on the Xcast and like all of my streams, anything you ever see me on. It's like, this is fun and I'm here to have fun, right? I love people being critical. I love people bringing a certain eye to it, but I'm not here to bash a game and I'm not here to bash a certain community of gamers. I'm here to be like, yo, tell me what's cool. Tell me what's not cool. I want to be part of that. I want to see that. I want to have fun with it. And it doesn't matter if you're on Nintendo, if you're on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or something in between. I'm here to have some fun and talk about games. And I think that's really been something special to me growing as a young kid to an adult, right? It's like sharing that fun and telling those stories, like you said, right? I'll never forget N64 days with Conker's Bad Fur Day and Donkey Kong 64 of like you'd go to school and your friends would be telling you about the game of like, oh, did you get to the Matrix part in Conker's Bad Fur Day? And I'm like, I don't even go past the first level. I'm still fighting the bull. And then my friend would come over for a sleepover. We'd get to that. And I was like, this is the coolest experience, right? And so I love those moments where you get to share the fun and the enthusiasm with your friends and like the GTA, sharing the cheat codes with your friends. Those are things you'll never forget. And I want more of that, Miles, right? And I think we have a lot of that, but I think social media puts this lens on people where like you got to be cool or like, negging is a cool thing where it's like, nah, I'm not into that anymore. It's like, no, just be like, yo, that's cool, man. I like that. Tell me more about it. And that's what I want to see.
And that's why I love you, Mike, because it's all about the love of the game. And I've talked about this on the show countless times, but it really frustrates me when anyone writes off any specific platform. Like I see a lot of people in the Xbox community, especially, write off Nintendo as a platform. But if you genuinely love video games, you will look at what each of these companies is doing and give credit where credit's due. Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox all have something incredible to offer. They all have different focuses, they all have a different approach, but it's wild to me that anyone would completely write off another platform, because at the end of the day, it is all about the games and it's all about the experiences that we have. For me, I prefer Xbox because for me, gaming is a very social thing. It's always been like playing with my brothers and sisters, playing with my friends. It's always been a very social focused thing for me. And, as I get older and my friends move further away, it's nice to have that remote option to kind of still keep in touch and still hang out and still play games together. And that's why I prefer Xbox, but I still love PlayStation. I still love Nintendo. I'd love the games. And so, yeah, that's why you're a great person in the industry, because you get that. And it's not about stirring the pot and like trying to get people fighting with each other. Because, like you said, that is a very vocal minority, especially on Twitter. In person, nobody acts like that. And if they do, oh, there's something fundamentally wrong with their brain. But
You're usually walking the opposite direction if Tommy's coming up to you saying something weird like that. Always remember that out
people
there.
yelling at you on the street for wearing an Xbox hoodie, boo! It doesn't happen. That's not the reality that we live in.
I wear a lot of Xbox gear, and I can tell you, never once has anybody ever booed me. They usually walk up and go, "Cool hoodie, bro," and I'm like, "Hey, dope PlayStation sweatshirt. Where did you get that?" You know. And so, yeah, I love gaming. I love the enthusiasm around it, and I love, being out here with this quote unquote platform, putting on these shows of like, I love sharing that enthusiasm with the friends, and I have the chat up now, and I love seeing the super chats. I love seeing people get positive and have fun about gaming, and I like having that feeling, right? That warm, fuzzy feeling inside that you get of thinking about your favorite gaming memories, thinking about those moments where you were. And I think, like you said, I play on Xbox because of the social aspect. And we grew up at such a key time, you and I, Miles, of like seeing it go from, oh, you have to go over to your friend's house to play the game, or you have to play by yourself, to now you're plugged into the internet and you can meet new people. You can stay connected with friends. And I'll never forget that, right? We came out of middle school with Halo 2. We went into high school with Halo 3. I finished high school in 2008 with Halo 3. And I'll never forget moving away, right? That's when you leave your friends, and that's when kids really develop on their own, right? You either move away from home and you disconnect from your friends and you make new friends. And having Xbox there with Xbox Live was so important to me, right? Because I could still stay connected with AJ, with Tim, with Kyle, and Nick, but also make new friends, right? And I made so many new friends through all of those gaming memories. And it was so special to me to have the past, but also the future. And it sticks with me now, where I continue to make friends now through Twitch, through our shows with Kinda Funny, through being here with you and on Twitter, right? Like, I get to meet so many people that are positive, that love gaming. And that's where I want to be. I want to be around those people. And I see this guy with $1 million smile named Miles from Windows Central, and he's talking about Xbox. He's sharing the fun. And I'm like, man, I want to be next to that guy. I want to talk to that guy. And so it's really exciting to like be here and just talk games, right? Especially at such an important time where gaming is coming to the forefront. It is one of the biggest things on the planet, and everybody knows about it now. It isn't just like oh, you're a nerd or you're playing games instead of going out and partying or hanging out with cute girls. It's now like, oh, you game too? Like, that's awesome. What are you gaming with? And I love that. I love being a part of it.
Yeah, I love that it's more of an everyday facet of so many people's lives. Even my wife, who historically has not really been that into gaming, in recent years, like we've just been playing more stuff together. Like I'll boot up something that's co-op, like State of Decay 2. I'm like, hey, let's check this out, see if you like it. She ends up loving it. Not a huge gamer, quote unquote, but she's put in, I think, like 3 days of total playtime. She's surpassed me in playtime in State of Decay 2. So it's cool that it's not a weird niche nerdy thing anymore. It's just something that people do. Like people watch movies, people listen to music, people play games, and it's not like, oh, you're a gamer, and with this negative connotation. It's like, I play video games, and I'm not gonna reduce myself to a title like gamer, quote unquote, but it is really cool to have this community of people that just love it. There's so much to talk about, and it's awesome to be able to sit down with so many different people who love it. And that's why gaming is so special to so many people, is because there's so much passion and energy behind it. Like, for people who've been in it in a while and seeing it grow exponentially every single year, I love that. You have some people who kind of gatekeep and kind of see that as a negative, that it's getting too mainstream, if you will. But the more people playing games, the better. Like, games can unite us and give us experiences that nothing else can, and I would never want to restrict that from anyone. So yeah, I love it. I got to get to a quick super chat from my man Kid Smooth. What day next week does Xbox break hearts with Bethesda news? Oh, you just come to
Miles, I need to know the date. Give me the date so we can report on it. All right. What's the date? Is it the 23rd? Is it the 17th? What's the date, Miles? What does everybody need to know?
If I was Xbox, because there was some speculation that they were going to do it yesterday. It sounds like at this point the deal's probably done or was wrapping up Friday. If I'm Xbox at this point, I drop that first thing, 7 a.m. Pacific time Monday morning, and just
Oh, I love that.
dominate the headlines for the week, like they did with the announcement. Like when
Mhm.
they announced that news, they dropped that it was like 7 a.m. Pacific time on a Monday, and just dominated the headlines for an entire week. Once that deal is closed, Xbox wants to recapture those headlines. So from a business standpoint, if everything is officially done and everything's wrapped up and they can officially make the announcement, do that first thing Monday morning and just dominate for an entire week. Get the energy back into the idea that Xbox has Bethesda, and we'll get into that a little later, as you know what we think that means, because you know the rampant conversations for a while now have been Xbox and Bethesda exclusivity. Is Xbox going to come in super aggressive and say, you want to play these, play it on Xbox. You can use your phone,
Woo!
you can use your PC, or you can use the console. But if you don't want to do that, sorry, I don't feel bad. Or are they gonna, tiptoe it and case by case? We're gonna look at each game and basically kind of be quiet. I'm sure internally they know exactly what their long-term strategy is, but the question is going to be, how are they going to convey that to the public? And do they want to be the bad guy? Because they've been really scared about, coming off as hostile and aggressive and dominating the industry and just
Oh,
buying up all these studios. They're really afraid to have that kind of persona. So that's why they've been, obviously there's the legality involved. They can't really say what they're going to do until it's official. And they don't want to get those headlines out there until it's official. But, once that deal is closed, what is Xbox's stance going to be? Snowbike Mike.
are we talking about it right now? I was
We're
gonna say, are we saving
we're
it for
just
later? Because if we got to jump into it, we'll jump into
we're
it,
just gonna
Miles.
jump into it. Yeah, it's segued
Oh
too
my gosh.
perfectly. So let's
Let's
go.
just go for it. It's right. You know what, Miles? Let's start off with, I love the date. Like you said, right? It's got to be a Monday or Tuesday. I think Gary Whitta and Paris have taught me so well, especially if you remember, of course, they always tell me you leave the bad news for Friday afternoon. And what did we see recently? The Xbox Live price hike
Yep.
happened on a Friday, and then they quickly changed that Friday evening, right? And so they always tell me you leave the bad news for Friday, you get into the weekend, people will forget about it by Monday. If you want to dominate the headlines, if you want to stay in the media mind share, you have to do it at the beginning of the week, because guess
Yep.
what? We're all working, we're going to school, we're checking the news, we're not going out on a hike or playing games throughout the weekend. And so, yeah, I expect that to be a Monday or Tuesday. Now, for me, right, I agree with you. There is no question. The moment that the ink is dry and we have shaken hands and over the table and we're going forward, we probably are coming with the announcement, right? I mean, I personally am of the understand, or of the feeling that we've had this long enough, right? We've had the will they, won't they? We've had the talks. We're waiting
Mm-hmm.
for it. I'm not gonna tell. I'm gonna tell you. I'll be fine if we wait another month, right? I understand if we wait, but the best business practice is the moment this is done, let's get it done. Now I don't know what they're gonna do, right? Is it gonna be a simple blog post where we can turn this around in a day? Do we need to bring over Pete Hines and Todd Howard and get Phil all in the same room or on the same Discord call and set up this big elaborate video? Is it going to be an E3 teardown conference where we have every trailer under the sun? How much time does that really need, right? So that's why I tell y'all, if we got to wait a month for something epic, I'll wait a month. But if we're going to do a blog post or something easy, let's get this turned around right away. And it's going to be it's going to be really exciting. And I think that was the thing that me, Paris, and Gary talked about is I asked them, what do you want to see and what do you need to see? And of course, what we want to see is welcoming on the teams, right? We're talking about 7 new studios coming on, and it's going to be a ton of fun. It might be, is it 8? My apologies if I mispronounced that one, 7 or 8. But either way, I'm of the mind share of I always like to get to know the people working so hard behind the scenes. And so what I would love to see is the dev diaries. I know people either want, hey, this is a giant E3 press conference or the blog post. I want to meet in the middle. I want to get to know you. I want to see these studios. I want to see the faces behind them. I want them to tell the stories of like, hey, this is this studio. This is why I came here. This is what we're making. We love these kind of games. And I actually kind of get pumped up about that, right? I think we saw Bethesda do that a while ago back in the day of like, hey, meet the teams, enjoy this kind of dev diary stuff. And people were like, oh, I hate that. Like, if you're not giving me trailers, then get out of my face, dude. And it's like, well, I think this is a big moment here, an important moment for Xbox gamers of like, hey, let's meet these people, right? These are coming into our family. They're going to be part of your team right now. And why not get to know them? So I'm of the mind share of I would love to see all of the studios spotlit. I would love to get to know these people. I'd love to see what they're working on, what makes them tick. And I'd like maybe, I'll say an hour-long video of that, but it doesn't have to be, 30 minutes is fine. But let's spotlight these creators and all these hardworking men and women. That's what I want to see.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you there. Like another big focus for me as I guess a figure in this industry is I want to constantly remind people that video games are made by human beings. It's not some algorithm, some machine that is pumping out a formula for what a video game is. It is people who, like us, love gaming. And so you have so many people who are willing to look at all the cynical and sinister reasons for game development and spin an idea or a project and completely reduce someone's basically they want to eliminate 3-4 years of someone's life because of an opinion that they have about a video game. But at the end of the day, the average person in the industry loves video games, and that's why they do it. So I love hearing people talk about how they got into the industry, why they're making games, what games are special to them. When I was sitting down with Adam Brennicky from Obsidian, listening to him talk about, Breath of the Wild and how the fundamental ideas of that game shaped Grounded, which you would never make that association when you play Grounded right off the bat. But listening to him talk about how all these different games, kind of like his love of those games, led to this particular game, and this is the reason the team loves what they're doing, because they love these games. So it's awesome to have those insights. And I know it's not super exciting for most people. The average person isn't that invested in the industry behind the scenes, but for you and I think that stuff's super special, and I would love to see Xbox come out and say, all right, so here is this Bethesda team. Let's break down each of these teams and who they are and what they're working on, and let people know that, Xbox is a group of passionate people. Because once you start breaking down the barriers of that, and you get rid of the idea that Xbox is a big business and a big brand, and that's it, Xbox is this logo. Once you start breaking down those walls and you say, okay, Xbox is actually thousands of people who love gaming. Xbox Game Studios is a collection of people who love gaming and have some great resources to make cool games. Once Microsoft has that messaging, I think the conversations regarding exclusivity become kind of benign. It becomes less important. If Xbox Game Studios is about making great games and giving their teams the tools to make great games, the conversations about exclusivity become less important.
It's really exciting, Miles. And so I think in my head, as I think about all this and take a breath, right? My dream situation is we come in on a Monday and it's not just a blog post, because I love talking with Paris and he's so insightful and smart. And, Paris loves to have the clarity. He loves to have a face and a voice to this instead of just a text and some ambiguity and like some question marks, right? He likes to be able to be like, hey, put a face to this and answer these questions and talk to me straight about it. And I love that, right? I would prefer to move away from a blog post because this is a big milestone. This is a big deal. This isn't blog post material. We're kind of past blog post material when you get to $7.5 billion on the table, unfortunately. So what I would love to see is we wake up on a Monday and it is a incredible either live event or video ready to go. And it is Phil Spencer welcoming in Pete Hines and Todd Howard. And they're talking, they're having fun. Todd says, hey, let me introduce you to the team, right? The Vault now, as they're going to call it, which I'm really excited about. And that's some details I want as well. It's like, what does the Vault mean? Are we going to add all of these studio names to the big wall of banners that we see? Or is it going to just be, hey, here's the umbrella, this is the vault, and this is what's inside the vault? But I think I would love some details on what that looks like, how that's going to go, all the team members. And then at the end, we have the sit-down conversation that everybody wants, like you've alluded to, exclusivity. It is time to get it out there. And as my good friend Paris has said before, if you don't address it now, every single game will be plagued by the same question. Is this exclusive? Is this not exclusive? Where do we fall on this, right? And we've heard the case-by-case basis. We've heard Phil Spencer's comments in the past where he doesn't like exclusivity. He wants gamers to game. He wants games everywhere, right? And so now we fall in this middle ground of, well, he spent $7.5 billion. And we know Xbox's biggest thing was, oh, you don't have the games. You don't give me the games that I want. But it's tough, right? This is going to be a line here in the sand. And it's really, really exciting to think about. No matter where you fall, or, I hope everybody's open-minded to think about both sides, right? I think the big point here is this is a huge deal. This is one of the biggest moments in gaming history, if not the biggest right now. $7.5 billion. The biggest IPs, some of the biggest game makers on the planet have now been purchased. Nobody else has done this before. And no matter if you think you're an Xbox fanboy and it's got to be exclusive, If you're on the opposite side saying, oh, Sony would do this to me and they'd make it exclusive, well, we've never actually been here before. So this is uncharted territory. And guess who's at the head of it? Phil Spencer and the team. And it's going to be a whole lot of fun to see what they do, but they have to address exclusivity no matter what, right? I think they just got to get it out the way, whether it's like, hey, we're going full exclusive with this. There's, a mid-tier here where it's half exclusive, not exclusive. Oh, it's going to be timed exclusives, or it's going to be on Game Pass. They have to talk about that because we're going to continue to have this conversation if they don't, Miles. And guess what? We've had this conversation since September, and it's getting kind of drawn out. It's getting kind of boring, unfortunately, right? And I think it's one of those, like, I love the passion, right? I'm an Xbox gamer, and I would love to come out and be like, yo, Sony fans, this is exclusive, and you're not getting Elder Scrolls, you're not getting Starfield, you're not getting Fallout. And it's like, I love that passion, I love that fire, but at the same time, I'm also a gamer, and I'm looking at the biggest, baddest IPs on the planet, some of the best game developers, and I think to myself, I'm like, put the games everywhere. Let the people play these games, right? But then there's the business standpoint of, does that make money? Is this the right move? I don't know. I'm not the head of Xbox, but I do know one thing. I'm very, very excited to have them part of the Xbox family. And I think the awesome middle ground for me where I can meet in the middle of whether it be exclusive or not exclusive, I know is this. I'm an Xbox gamer who loves Xbox Game Pass, and I'm going to have these games under the Game Pass service umbrella, and I'm going to be pumped up about that because I'm coming from a world where I haven't been in the industry my whole life, right? I used to work a 9-to-5 job, and I still am ingrained in that kind of lifestyle. It's only been 3 months with Kinda Funny, right? So, like, in my life, it's always been work 9 to 5, take your paycheck, spend all my money on video games, right? $60 here, $60 there. And now it's like, oh my gosh, now these games are coming to Game Pass, and I'm going to save so much money. I'm so happy, Miles. It hurts deep down inside because I used to just take my paycheck and buy every game known to man. And I'd look back and be like, well, now I got $12 and I got to go buy McDonald's for the next week and a half because I have no food anymore. And so it's just really exciting to me of like, here's these awesome games that I grew up with that hold so much weight to me, right? Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout. Right now I'm looking at Starfield. And I know no matter what, wherever this falls, it's all good with me because it's going to be on Game Pass. And I'm going to take advantage of that service, y'all. And I hope y'all enjoy that as well. But exclusivity talk, I can be on either side, Miles. I could literally jump from this side and be like, yo, full exclusivity. I could be on this side and be like, yo, let the gamers play, put it everywhere. I could meet you in the middle and say, hey, they're coming to Game Pass. You can enjoy the service. You could pay $60 here. You pay $60 there, wherever. It's a fun conversation. And it's tough to like plant a flag and be like, I know this is happening because I don't know, right? I'm not a fly on the wall. I can't tell you what the business side is because $7.5 billion, a giant Microsoft company that has been, the underdog has been told they don't got the games. They don't got it. Why would I buy this? Well, now they do. And they got a big moment here, Miles. I don't know.
Papa Phil just throwing stacks on the table, making some moves. It is a really tough conversation to have because let's be real. None of us can even comprehend $7.5 billion. We can't even wrap our minds around that much money. So to say that means yes or no in one way or another, I will say definitively the idea that Xbox has to make it multi-platform to make their money back, I think that's completely been proven false. As we've seen with their financial statements from one quarter, the Xbox made more than that in one quarter based off, this is pre-Bethesda. So that whole ideology we can say that's not true. You can't spin that narrative accurately anymore because that's just not the reality of the situation. But yeah, we have a lot of people in the Xbox community who've been dealing with that narrative that Xbox has no games, Xbox is trash, why are you playing on Xbox, all the cliche stuff that they hear. So I think that's where a lot of this energy comes from, that Xbox games have to and will be 100%, or Bethesda games have to and will 100% be exclusive. I think a lot of that comes from, just being beaten down as an Xbox fan. And
they're beaten down, Miles.
They want the comeback. They want the rise to power. They want to be able to just rub it in the noses of PlayStation fanboys. And that's not a good place to be. That's not a good place. Like I talked about earlier, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm putting someone down or like restricting someone's access to a great game. But at the same time, Xbox has come out and said that this was a way to drive people to Xbox Game Pass. So regardless of exclusivity, whatever they do with this is going to be a factor for Xbox Game Pass. I'm kind of in the camp that it might be a mix. I think the majority of games will probably be Xbox exclusives down the road. What the immediate year or two looks like in terms of releases, I really can't say. Stuff like that's already been announced, Indiana Jones, Starfield, I can't really say. It would be, some headlines if Xbox did come out and say Starfield is definitively an Xbox exclusive. Indiana Jones is definitively an Xbox exclusive, because one of the most frustrating things for me was when Indiana Jones was announced, it wasn't about, oh man, an Indiana Jones game is coming out. It was, is this going to be an Xbox exclusive? That was like the dominating conversation regarding a brand new AAA big budget Indiana Jones game from Todd Howard. And I was like, why are people so fascinated by the exclusivity? The conversation about the game itself is being completely thrown away. So I'm in the same camp that I'm really tired of these conversations. I want to know definitively either way, because I'm tired of every single announcement getting plagued with, is this an exclusive? Because that's what it's been about. But we look at PlayStation, and they are kind of figuring out a business strategy right now to get more of their games on PC. So you have even PlayStation, that's been their selling point. That's been their bread and butter, was like, you have to have a PlayStation console to play these games. And that's the way we're going to keep it. Even they are reevaluating that stance. So it's tough. It's tough to say. Xbox has more flexibility when it comes to an Xbox exclusive, because that doesn't mean a console. That means console, your phone, or a PC. So they could go that route. They could say, hey, you got to be on an Xbox platform in some way. You don't have to buy an Xbox. You can play on your phone. And, do they spin that like the whole Diablo Immortals narrative? Like, you have phones, right? And do it that way? But it's tough to say. But I do want to shout out the 237 people hanging out with us today. Really appreciate it. I got to get to a couple super chats as well. Lucas Jagerskog?
I think you did good on that one.
Yeah, I think
really
that's
good.
pretty good. What was the last game you completed, and what did you think about it? And also, I hope everyone is having a great day. Oh, I love that. Love the energy there.
Thanks, Lucas.
I guess, yeah, a little quick segue here. What is the last game you completed, and what did you think about it?
The last game I completed, and actually was my first ever 100% and full 1,000 gamer score, was Maneater, one of my favorite games of 2020. I absolutely loved it. I think Maneater fell in this realm of like a AA, Tripwire Interactive. Do people actually like this? Oh, it's repetitive and boring. And to me, it fit everything I wanted. I love Grand Theft Auto. I loved the zaniness of Saints Row, and I love Shark Week, right? And somebody was like, yo, what if I gave you Grand Theft Auto, but you're a shark, Mike? And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love that. And they're like, hold on. I got Chris Parnell to pretend like it's a nature documentary. And I'd be like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And so, yeah, I loved Maneater. And I actually found just like swimming around the different environments, chomping on different fish, to seals, to whales, to fellow sharks. And like, I just loved that loop. And so, yeah, all of a sudden it felt natural. It's like one of those games, Miles, where it didn't feel like a grind. It was like, oh, I do want to explore that area. Oh, I do want to get that license plate 50 feet up in the air. Why not? And all of a sudden, by probably 80% of the game, I was close to getting that 100%. And I looked at my friends, it's like, well, let's go do this, right? And it was really cool to think of like, this was the first game as well, after playing since I was a teenager on the original Xbox, right? This was the first game I truly tried to 100%. This is the first game where I can look up at my gamer score and be like, yeah, the full 1,000, I did that, right? And so, yeah, I want to give a big shout out to Maneater. That will be a game that I always will share the enthusiasm and the fun for, and that will be a game that I'll always remember, because it was really cool, and it was awesome to be my first after so many years of playing,
Yeah, we can't write off games like Maneater. We need dumb, over-the-top, absurd concepts in gaming. That's what keeps it fun. If every game is a third-person or first-person shooter RPG, that's not interesting. I need something in the mix like Maneater, where I'm just a giant shark eating anything and everything I can. Like I need that kind of variation in my gaming. And I gotta say, is Greg Miller rubbing off on you a little bit? You're obsessing about the 100%, the completion.
He He's pretty proud of me. I will say that. You know what I mean? It's not a platinum trophy, so he's still a little
So yeah,
disappointed in me.
for him,
But he is happy that I'm growing a little bit, you know? And it is fun to be around those guys, right? I think the coolest part is I get to be with them. And as well, Miles, as you've seen, right? I'm in charge of the daily live streams. And each and every day I'm with a different kind of funny cast member. And it's fun. It's not just me and my boys, right? The Maddock Juniors, the Kevins, the Washburns, where it's like, we just play Call of Duty or we play Halo and we do it, right? Now it's like, oh, here's like new people and I'm like figuring out what they like and we're trying different things, right? Greg loves games of service. He loves these grinds where he turns off his mind and he just talks to the chat and he just shoots mindlessly. And we're playing Division 2. Now I'm with Blessing, the future class of video games. And like Blessing is so smart, fun to be around, and just so different. And like we'll play fighting games one week. Now we're playing Hitman. Now we're playing some crazy indie game together. And it's like, man, I'm playing and being exposed to games I never thought I would be. And then I get to play with Nick and Andy where it's just like, yo, let's find the dumbest fun game and let's just laugh the whole time. And so I'm in this really fun predicament now of like, it's here's my squad that I'm always with in the games we always play. But now I'm with a new squad where I have to like make new friends and see what they're into and see what we vibe with. And I love that because it's allowing me to grow. And you and I talked about this before the show of like, the coolest part about being a human being is growing and trying new things and seeing what you like, right? Like go out there and try that new food, try that new dance class, try that new video game, and like maybe you'll like it. I never thought I would ever like or enjoy roguelike Metroidvania games. And all of a sudden, Dead Cells clicked for me to the point where now I'm playing Celeste, I'm playing Hades, I'm playing Dark Souls, like we talked about at the beginning of the show. It's like I'm banging my head against the wall, but overcoming that challenge just gets me fired up, and I love that. And so, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And yeah, those guys over at Kinda Funny, they're wearing on me right now. They're changing me up a little bit, which is good.
Love to see it. Love to see people, willing to accept some outside influence. We all have our bubbles and we all have our comforts. But it's nice to, get some different perspectives from all sorts of people, and especially when it comes to gaming, because yeah, like I try to have an open lens and an open mind about what I play. But to your question there about what I've been playing, it's nothing new for me, but I've been working on a piece for Windows Central where I'm doing our definitive From Software Souls-like power ranking.
So exciting.
So over the last 6 months, I've been playing and replaying through every single From Software Souls-like. So from Demon Souls to Sekiro, a lot of those I had already beaten previously, so I went back and replayed them. The most recent one I replayed was Dark Souls 2, which I don't want to, spoil the list right now, but I can definitively say that Dark Souls 2 is the worst. Of the From Software Souls-likes, Dark Souls 2, in my opinion, is the worst. Not a bad game. All From Software Souls-likes start at great and then just go up from there. So Dark Souls 2 is not a bad game, but Dark Souls 2 is the worst From Software Souls-like. Comfortably so.
Make sure everybody hears that in the back, because Dark Souls 2 takes a lot of hate, and it, wherever you fall, it's still a great game.
Exactly.
And it's a game that you should play, right? I'm battling poor Andy Cortez he's getting into it and he's fallen in love with these games, right? He's played Bloodborne. Now he's completed Dark Souls 1, and his whole chat is like, oh no, you don't play Dark Souls 2. That's trash. You go right to 3. And I'm like, hold up a minute. Hold up a minute.
Whoa.
It's still a very good game. It's a great game. Yes, it gets a little boring with the knights all the time in the setting, but like it is so much fun and it is so cool that it deserves to be played, right? Like play them all, have some fun. And so, yes, it is a great game for people in the back. No matter where you fall, might be the lowest out of all of them, but all of these games are absolute bangers and you should play them all.
Yeah, well said. I will say the worst Dark Souls game is better than most RPGs. Just for the people in the back. Even Dark Souls 2 is on a tier above most RPGs. So, yes, Dark Souls 2 is the worst Dark Souls. Still a great game. Still worth a playthrough. I've beaten it three times. And not as many. I think it goes Dark Souls 1 I've beaten twice, Dark Souls 2 I've beaten 3 times, and Dark Souls 3 I've beaten at least 5 times. Dark Souls 3 is just once a year. I'll just, I get the itch. Just got to go through.
Now, do you play any of these games co-op? So like I've always told the story of, for me to get my toes in the water and try, a big aspect of that was playing with my good friend from Tahoe, Sad Boy Sean, who is obsessed with these games, Miles. I mean, I'll get in the car and pick him up to go to McDonald's, and he'll tell me stories about the lore. He'll be like, "Oh, did you know about this, Mike?" I'm like, "I don't even know this game, Sean. What are you saying to me?" Right? And so I finally broke. I was like, "Let's play this together. Tell me all about it." And we played co-op through 1 through 3, and I had an absolute blast. I loved every moment of it. And if it wasn't for that co-op feel, I don't know if I would ever have gotten into those games. So it's really great to have like that side aspect of like, oh, if this is too hard for you, or if like you want to be a new person, you haven't tried this before, try co-op. So like, have you ever played co-op with these?
Yeah, for me, Dark Souls is a co-op game. Like, I'm not one of those elitists who say you have to play the game single player to truly beat Dark Souls. For me, the reason I love Dark Souls and why it's so special, like in my friend group, is because we always play it co-op. Like 3 to 4 player co-op for Dark Souls has always been how we've played. And I've beaten Sekiro. I love Sekiro. Sekiro's a phenomenal game. But the entire time I was thinking, man, this would be dope if it was a co-op. Man, I wish this had co-op. So yeah, absolutely. Almost every single time I play in co-op. Dark Souls 1 remastered, I'm towards the end of that, and I've been playing through that kind of a mix, mostly single player, just to like get through it. And that's one I'm working on the 100% for, working to get that dark ending. But yeah, no, Dark Souls for me is a co-op game, 100%.
Get back to your super chats. Give
I know we got a
love. I love seeing them.
Let me just say, y'all are awesome. Appreciate all the super chats. I got a few to catch up on here, so we're gonna go down the list. All right, Max, the lazy otaku. Phil said he wants games everywhere since Game Pass is everywhere except PS and PlayStation and Switch. Just put them on Game Pass exclusively, so it's still everywhere. And again, I think that's something we kind of touched on a little bit. Is I could see them doing that. I mean, like, hey, you know, you have access to a PC, you have access to your phone. If you really want to play these, we're not going to make you buy the box, but you got to have Game Pass, or you got to have some sort of investment in the Xbox ecosystem.
I love that statement because it feels like the Diablo Immortals, where I come out on stage and I'm like, y'all got a phone, don't you?
Y'all got a phone,
Game Pass
right?
on your phone. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, I understand that, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about console exclusivity and coming to PlayStation and Switch. But it is my favorite of like, when you hear that, and it's like, that's just the best side skirt of like, oh, y'all got a phone, y'all got PC, don't worry about it, you know. It'll come to Game Pass, figure it out. I love that so much. And that is the coolest part about Xbox, right? Of like what they're creating with the ecosystem. And it's not 2004 where I'm stuck on just one box and it only plays these games. We're in a new world now where we're connected to everything. And I truly believe in a lot of the marketing. You know, if you can call it mumbo jumbo if you want, but like I believe in that and I live that and I feel it, right? I am the player and I am at the center of everything. I can turn on my PC and my save will carry over and I can play the games that I love. I can go lay in bed and play on my phone and all the saves carry over. I can play the games I love. I can play my Xbox. I can play my Xbox One. And it's like really cool to see that come to life, right? It's not just me tethered to the couch and on the same console all the time. Now it's me anywhere playing the games that I love. I mean, Miles, I can't tell you how many times I've taken family vacations and tried to shove an Xbox in my mom's luggage and her yelling at me, right? Like I've done that. I've been that guy. And now to know like, hey, Mike, we know you're addicted to video games and we know you love that. It's on your phone now. You're going to be fine. Go play it anywhere. I love that one. But yeah, for the Bethesda conversation, it is a really great little jab of like, y'all got a phone, like Game Pass is on your phone. Good luck. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if that's the true conversation we're having, but I like that. I do like that.
Yeah, from a marketing perspective, well, that is true. Statistically, most people have a phone and a computer. You probably can't get away with just saying it like that. I don't think they're going to win a lot of people over by saying, bust out those phones. You want to play Elder Scrolls 6? Get out that phone or buy an Xbox. Peace. I don't think that's going to be the aggressive stance that they want to take because, like you mentioned, their whole marketing mumbo jumbo has been about putting the player first and catering to what they want and being more inclusive and like bridging these gaps between different platforms. And so, yes, while it's true, most people have a phone. I don't know that they're going to, at least from a marketing perspective, be that blatantly aggressive about it. But who knows? Again, I think a lot of it comes down to what people want. As the diehard Xbox fans who've been listening to the narrative for so long, they just want that clap back from Phil, I think. You know, they just want that
Oh,
the
that
big
you know that, Miles. Like I can see the chat. I see all of you, and you know I'm just as passionate as all of you. I'm just as enthused about you. But like you can tell, they want to do like the My Hero 100 punch or something. Like, ah, we got you, dude. And it's like we're not coming at him with that kind of energy. We got to come at him with a little bit of class, a little bit of like, hey, we love gaming everywhere, you know. But it's like people just want to throw this haymaker punch that's gonna knock somebody sideways. It's like I don't think that's how this announcement's gonna go, folks.
No, I'm sure there's gonna be a little more nuance than that. As amazing as it would be if Phil Spencer just said that and then dropped the mic and walked off stage, we got like a 20-second video of Phil Spencer be like, yeah, all Bethesda stuff is Xbox exclusive. That's it. That's their statement Monday.
Walk away is right.
People would lose their minds, but I don't think that's the reality. That's not the messaging that Xbox has been cultivating over the last 4 or 5 years. They're your buddy. They're your friends. We're all about the gaming industry. And, you know, while some of that's probably just, you know, marketing mumbo jumbo, as you said, I'm sure deep down a lot of it comes from a good place and they have good intentions and they see the kind of capabilities that we can have by having multi-platform, like not exclusive, but multi-platform releases. Max, the lazy otaku, also says, and on the cloud once it hits PC and iOS. So yes, statistically, you will have so many options to play Xbox games, even if you don't own a console. So they're not being that aggressive. They're not having the Sony stance where you have to have a PlayStation 5 to be able to play their exclusives. You will have some options. But people don't like to be told how and what they can do, generally speaking, as Xbox learned with the launch of the Xbox One and the Kinect. Permanently damaged their reputation, unfortunately.
You didn't want TV through that? You didn't want TV on the TV? You didn't want TV all the time? TV this, TV that? Like, man, I also did like the Snap feature, so don't get me wrong. That was pretty dope to watch Sunday football while playing games. It was a pretty dope idea, y'all. And I'm very similar to Alana. I am a Kinect apologist. I have about 3 Kinects in my house. I played a lot of Kinects. Once played Nike Plus Fit Trainer and straight up vomited all over my living room floor because I was going so hard with Russell Wilson. I miss you, Kinect. But you know what? I'm happy to see you gone.
It's one of those things. Yes, Kinect from a technology standpoint was awesome. Innovative tech, pushed some cool like capabilities, expanded upon the fundamental ideas of the Wiimote and the motion controls. And it's funny to me that we have so many people who push for VR on Xbox, that want to see Xbox have VR, but who also hated the Kinect. And it's funny how similar at the end of the day those kind of ideas are.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I did not hate the Kinect. Nobody used it, which is why it failed. But the actual fundamental technology was pretty cool. There was some cool ideas there. But yeah, forcing someone to have Kinect, forcing them to pay an extra $100 for their console to get the Kinect was probably not the best business strategy. It made,
no,
as we've learned,
it was not.
Gamers can be spiteful. And I think that's why there was so much hate for the Kinect. Because when the Kinect was an optional thing with the Xbox 360, it sold like gangbusters. That thing broke records. That thing killed it. That thing sold so well. And I think people forget that because with the Xbox One, being forced, people hated it. The narrative completely shifted. It was terrible. There was no reason for it. Get rid of it. I don't want it. So yeah, Xbox paid the price for bundling that in as a mandatory feature.
I'm glad that Xbox is staying the course and holding off right now on VR. As much as I love the idea of VR and I'm excited by VR, I have a PlayStation VR that literally just collects dust now. I've only played about 5 total games on it, right? And so it's one of those, I would like to see the technology move a little bit more forward, and it seems to be now. Like, we're cutting off the wires. It seems to be a little less clunky, a little bit lighter on your head. And it's like, you know what, give it another 5 years, then we'll talk about it over here on Xbox. Let me see the proof in the pudding. Let me see the games. Let me see everything come to light. But I'm very interested in VR. I've always, it's been an interesting conversation with Xbox of like, when you look around, right? Sony had the Vita and the handheld. Now Switch is, handheld and, at home. And then there's VR as well. It's like, as an Xbox gamer, you've always looked at the other side and go, well, I'd love an Xbox handheld. And it's like, man, that would have been cool back in the day. Thankfully, now they're moving to phones. But it is fun to be like here in the Xbox seat and like look around. Like, man, VR, that's kind of interesting. I don't know if I want that yet, but I kind of, oh man, that mobile device would have been super cool 5 years ago. Now they've moved into that. So it is fun. I can't wait to see what's next over here with them.
Yeah, it's tough when you're a business on that scale, like figuring out, like, is this going to be worth the investment? if Xbox invested all this R&D into an Xbox handheld, they put it out, and then like phones, as we've seen, are just so widespread. People are just would prefer to play on their phone. It's just easier. It's more convenient. We have the controllers built in. If they had invested all this time into that handheld, would it do well? Would it stand up to something like the Switch, which is kind of this cool hybrid as a kind of proprietary standalone? Because, as much as people love the PS Vita, I mean, it did not sell that well in the grand scheme of things. Like the attachment rate for the PS Vita was pretty low, and obviously a lot lower than Sony wanted. So it's interesting. It's tough to predict that. My biggest gripe with like VR in general right now is, maybe I'm just a weenie, but the motion sickness is extremely real for me. I don't know if you've played Serious Sam on VR, but that game is fast. That game is fluid. I played for about 2 minutes and wanted to throw up. It was so jarring, especially the momentum of walking backwards. Like when you have that camera perspective and you can like move strafe backwards, that motion for me just destroys my guts, dude. I have to like chew ginger. I have to take Dramamine. I have to like physically prepare to play VR, and that's kind of counterintuitive to the convenience factor of gaming for me.
I've had that feeling a couple of times, and I'll actually never forget TwitchCon 2015 was one of my first gaming conventions, and I took an ex-girlfriend there, and there was the VR setup, and I was like, yo, we got to try this. It's the future. And she's not really a gamer, kind of like what you talked about with your wife, right? She's like, yeah, whatever you say, Mike, like, we'll do it, right? We put on the VR headsets, and she took that off, and she looked at me, she goes, take me to the hotel room now. The night is over, right? And like, she laid there in pain for the rest of the night. And I've had that feeling before. I know many others have tried VR, has had that. It's like, that is a punishing sickness right there that you don't recover from quickly, right? It's not take the headset off, 20 minutes of fresh air. It's like, oh man, I feel this deep down inside me and I just can't get away from it for a while. So yeah, I think that needs to overcome and figure it out as well. I do want to give some love when we talk about the VR to Firewall. Was it Firewall? Yeah, Firewall, the multiplayer shooter was really, really cool on PlayStation. I thought that was so awesome because I've always dreamt of Halo VR. I've dreamt of pretty much laser tag Halo VR, right? Where I got the full body suit, I got the headset on, people are shooting me, I'm feeling bullets as a Spartan, and we're having a good time, right? And that's always been my dream. And like, I've played early versions of the VR, and I felt like I never had that like 4v4 competitive like first person shooter. And all of a sudden that Firewall 0 Hour came out, and it's like the Kinda Funny crew's calling me. We got the headsets on, and I'm like, bravo team, I'm on your six. And we're like leaning through corners and stuff. I'm like, this could be the answer. And so I hope I see more of that, because that is my dream in VR. That's all I ever want. Halo VR, full body suit. Let me have it.
There are some just incredible experiences and possibilities. I remember I had a buddy in California, lived in Orange County, obsessed with VR. Every time I would go to his house, he would force me to play some new game in VR. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's strap in. I forget the name of it, but it was like a kind of like a Ghost Recon, like tactical military shooter. But I remember squadding up with some people online and literally going prone, laying on the ground of his room, just crawling across the ground as we're like approaching enemy lines. And like experiences like that are unforgettable and really, really fun. So there is cool potential with VR, and I want to see it expanded on. But yeah, there's still a lot of issue. People want convenience, and VR still is not that convenient. Even once you get rid of the wires, once you get rid of that, it's still not the most convenient way to play. And so people need to really kind of be in the mood and be invested. I could never see myself being a majority VR gamer, because I just sometimes want to kick back in a chair, throw some headphones on, and just chill and just veg out. I don't want to be standing up and like crouching over cover and like trying to shoot people. It's a lot of work to play VR. You're sweaty, which is, sometimes that's the energy you want. Sometimes you want to go in, you want to get sweaty, you want to have a good time. Sometimes you just want to chill.
I'm not Travis Scott, and I don't have a whole room dedicated to VR. You know what I mean? I'm not quite there in my life where it's like clear out the whole entire room. I'm doing whatever and getting active in here. And like you said, I don't know a person who would look at me and be like, I'm trying to spend 10 hours every single day in VR, right? Like we're like, I'll spend some time, I'll enjoy it. I'm here to kick back on the couch, get in my comfy gaming chair, and relax and play games like we've always grown up with. Maybe we'll get to a world where it's Sword Art Online, where I just put the headset in, I lie down like a vampire, and I'm in the world, right? But we're unfortunately not there yet. So yeah, I'm not in the mood to jump into that quite yet.
That's an amazing point. Yeah, what you see behind me, this would be my space for VR. I got to make this work.
Exactly.
I'm punching shelves. I'm punching monitors. It's a mess. It's.
I have 2 dogs that I'm probably gonna kick, like the cat video where the man kicks the cat 50 yards. That's what's gonna happen here. That's right.
Gotta close the animals out. Gotta let the wife know that if she hears banging, I'm just probably punching a bookshelf. It's a whole thing. Super chat from Mr. Joanna Dark, just popping in. Hello, fellas. Unfortunately, I cannot watch the show live, but I want to say hi to SnowBikeMike, a big fan of the Kinda Funny Xcast.
Oh, thank you so much, and love the name. Love the name.
That's sweet. Just can't watch live, still showing some love, and I appreciate that. We got a $20 super chat from Michael Kulik. Only way to increase the value of Game Pass and to bring in more players to their ecosystem is to make future Bethesda titles exclusive. Would be a moronic investment otherwise. Narrative of Xbox has no games will never. So Michael's in the stance that they gotta have that big Xbox energy, bro. They gotta say, you know what? This is the reality that we live in. You want to play these games?
It's tough to disagree with them.
Yeah, I get it. I understand that prospect of it. And
no doubt. I feel that vibe, Michael, right? I think Miles feels that vibe. All of us feel that vibe. I see a lot of people in the chat of like, it'd be dumb business moves. It'd be this or that. Like, you have to do it. And no matter what happens, right? Always remember your favorite content creator, yourself out there, no matter where you fall on this, when this comes out, you don't have to come back to Miles and be like, yo, Miles, I told you so, big dog. How could you be so wrong about it, right? Like, people have feelings. They're thinking about it from all different angles. And like, that's the one part that worries me is like, we see this, like, just feeling this energy, right? Of like, if you don't say it's full exclusive and it goes full exclusive, I'm going to come back to you and I'm going to be like, yo, Mike, you're an idiot. Why did you say that, right? And it's like, well, I'm a gamer, right? I'm just trying to say that I want everybody to play the games. I was trying to think of different avenues for all that. And it's like, man, this talk since September has ramped up so much because we've waited for the deal to go through, waiting for the ink to dry. We're waiting for them to come out and say something. And it's like, this passion is brewing in all of us. And we're so excited. We're so pumped up. And it's like, you almost get scared where it's like, man, what if I don't think they're going to go exclusive? What if I want everybody to still play these games? What if I think like, man, you know, Fallout, Starfield, and Elder Scrolls aren't the biggest and baddest titles? And what if they do go exclusive? Will it really push units and all that jazz? You think of all these different avenues. And then I think of like, if I say that, like, people are going to come after me and be like, you were wrong on that one, Mike. What an idiot you are. It's like, well, my bad. My bad on this one.
And that's the fun of speculation. Like,
yeah,
nobody knows for sure. Nobody knows for sure how this is going to play out. What we're trying to do here is have some kind of, you know, options, some possibilities. We're looking at this from an objective lens and saying, what are the legitimate possibilities here? Yes, it is a possibility that Xbox goes all in, full exclusive for all Bethesda games moving forward. It is a possible that they adhere to their case-by-case basis. And you have big multiplayer, any game that has a multiplayer component that they can see, you know, monetizing, maybe those are multi-platform, but the single-player only games are exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. You know, there's a lot of possible avenues, and people underestimate Xbox's desire to win fan approval, as we saw with the Xbox Live Gold price hike. I have never seen a company drop something on a Friday and then that evening, what was it, like 10 p.m., 9 p.m. to reverse it? They're working through a Friday night to like correct this, to correct the messaging, because they are so concerned about public reception right now, because they do have a lot of really great momentum, and there are a lot more people legitimately excited about the future of Xbox, and they want to maintain that, and they want to be this cool bastion of like gaming inclusivity. So again, I could see them going full exclusive for sure. Either way, I want to know. But at the end of the day, they are really concerned about coming off as an evil corporation. Definitely more than Sony, and definitely more than Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't care. As we've seen with their limited release Mario collections and Fire Emblem releases that end at the end of the fiscal quarter, they are transparently just trying to get money out of you. They don't care. And, you know, whatever. The games are great. People buy them. I'm not going to fault you for buying them. But if Xbox ever did something like that, you can bet that would be just destroyed. That would be all over the internet. People would be just tearing that apart. Nintendo does it constantly, and we kind of look the other way. I love Nintendo, but Xbox, of all of the big three, if you will, is way more invested in what the community thinks than PlayStation.
That's kind of had to been their MO, right? Nintendo has been Nintendo. They have that staple. They can be that. Sony has had this prestige about them where they're looking down upon you now because they are up at the top. They've ascended. And Xbox is like struggling to find their footing after taking a couple of jabs to the face. And now they're like, hey, like, what if we're just that guy that everybody loves, that, like, people will believe in us and we're enjoying that. And maybe we can raise together here. And it's going to be a really interesting one, like you said, right? Are they going to come out and say, this is now full exclusives, and then just take that beating and like go back in the hole and just move forward and not say anything? Will they go back and be like, you know what? We've talked about it as a team, and unfortunately now we have to change that, right? 5 hours later, like, what is going to happen here? And it's going to be so exciting no matter where you fall and what happens. This is going to be a big moment in gaming, one that we'll never forget. We'll talk about for years, right? That will set the landscape and the tone moving forward, right? Like, you best believe if Sony sees you put down 7.5 billion and you go full exclusive, their next move is to find something you know and love, and they're going to make it full exclusive as well, right? And when we're going to have this war where we're trading tit for tat of like, I got this, you got that, good luck, and it's going to be really wild to see here. And it's all going to start. I mean, most likely people think this month, which is totally understandable. Once it's announced, it begins, and we're going to have a really fun time as gamers talking about what happens here, because it's going to be a wild one.
This year is going to be spicy in so many different ways. The Bethesda stuff is going to be super interesting to see unfold. And like you said earlier, this probably is the biggest deal that we've ever seen in gaming history. It's massive. It's monumental. What we really need to look at for context is the fact that this move scared Google out of gaming, pretty much. Google was kind of all in, investing in studios, trying to build up their own platform, their own internal development. Xbox announces this deal, and they're like, wow, we are not going to spend that much money, so let's just stop now. Let's pull the plug. We're not going to get on that level and spend $7.5 billion on Bethesda, so all right, let's back out. That is wild. When you are spending money that makes Google say, all right, we're done. Like, that is kind of scary for some people, I'm sure. So Xbox, if they wanted to be the big bad guy in the industry, they could. They absolutely have the money. I think people underestimate how much money Microsoft has and generates every single day. So if they wanted to be this monolith, the Disney of gaming, they could do it. They could easily do it. But they've thankfully at least come out and said, we're not just trying to buy up anyone and everyone. The people that we buy are strategic. We want to have good relationships. We want to have the right people making the right games. So I'm glad they are, at least from an optics perspective, putting on the face that they're not trying to do that. That's not their end goal. They want to get the right teams, and they want to pull people into Xbox Game Pass. But yeah, we've never seen anything like this. And it's going to be really interesting either way to see how this all unfolds. And some people are going to be right. Some people are going to be wrong. And either way, I'm going to be playing all the Bethesda games on Xbox Game Pass. So let's go.
No matter what, no matter if you're right, wrong, or in the middle, no matter where you stand on this, we as gamers are going to win in this situation, right? The best part about being with Xbox and being a gamer in general in this landscape is you were always winning. All of these game companies are rising their game. They're rising their talent, whether it be PlayStation with their incredible lineup of first-party IPs, whether it be Nintendo being Nintendo, right? Giving you the games that you grew up with, the games you love, and continuing to elevate and evolve those, and giving you this hybrid console that's an absolute banger, that's at-home console, then that's on the mobile where I'm on a plane. Like, wow, I love the Switch. And to Xbox, right? Where it's like, hey, we're going to change the game right now, and we're going to put you at the center with this game service called Game Pass, and we're going to make sure you're not spending all of your hard-earned money each and every day on your kids, on yourself. Like, we as gamers are going to win no matter what comes out of this. And you best believe if you're an Xbox fan or if you're not an Xbox fan, you're going to be able to jump on Game Pass because it's going to be everywhere. And you're going to be able to play these games for a cheap service, which is going to be really, really special no matter what. So, yeah, it's really fun to see the energy and see the enthusiasm. And I'd love to just come out and be like, yo, full exclusivity. I hate you all, peace, right? I love that stuff. I love that energy. Keep that energy, right? But at the same time, like, I want to see people smile. I'm a gamer and I'm so excited about this. And I can't wait to see what this business does, right? Like, this is an exciting time and everybody should be pretty pumped up about it.
Yeah, we got a super chat from Michael Kulik, kind of touching on a previous big acquisition for Microsoft. Just look at Mojang in Minecraft. Most people don't even associate the IP with Xbox. They can't do the same thing with Bethesda. I will let you touch on that first, Mike, because I have some thoughts on how Microsoft approached Mojang and Minecraft. Do you think that's true that people don't associate Xbox and Minecraft?
Man, that's tough. I think the people that are truly in the know, like I like to say it like this. There's the gamers in the know that truly know, right? They know that they're part of Xbox now. They know moving forward, like this is an Xbox company. But does my mom know? Does little Billy down at your local middle school or high school know? Absolutely not. It's Minecraft. The issue is Minecraft was gigantic before Xbox bought them. Minecraft will always be gigantic. There's not a giant Xbox logo when you boot up Minecraft anywhere in front of you. So it's like one of those is like, no, Minecraft will never truly be known as the general public of like, oh, that's Xbox because it's Minecraft. It's a whole nother level of world there for me. So I don't know about that. It will be interesting of like the Vault and Bethesda. In my mind, Bethesda isn't as massive as Minecraft is that took over the world and is a staple in everybody's life. But it is big. Yeah, it will be associated with Xbox in my mind for sure. And exclusivity talk will only further that for sure. This Vault thing that they're creating will be associated with Xbox no matter what you think. Whatever this Vault is, how they phrase this, how they put it out there to the public, you will know it's Xbox for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the Minecraft stuff, does does Xbox even care when you look at the financial results that Minecraft pulls in every single quarter? Does Microsoft care that it's directly associated with Xbox? Sure, they want to build up brand notoriety, but Minecraft is in a league of its own. Minecraft, I would say, is more known than Xbox or PlayStation in terms of notoriety. Minecraft is massive. Minecraft makes so much money consistently. So it's really hard to say that, Xbox should have made it obvious that Minecraft is owned by Xbox when Minecraft arguably at that time was bigger than Xbox. Like Minecraft was this cultural phenomenon that everyone knew about. It was like Fortnite. And Fortnite is massive. People, there are kids who don't have an Xbox, don't have a PlayStation, but you bet your ass they know what Fortnite is. So it's tough to say if Xbox needed that brand notoriety, or if Xbox is just cashing checks and with this big smile on their face saying, "All right, go."
It's really fun. It's so exciting. I do love Minecraft, and it's so big. It's right. It's like Fortnite, like you said, right? People just know the name. Just know it doesn't matter where it's from, who made it, where's it at. Just love Fortnite, right? That's the whole thing right there. So yeah, it's exciting stuff. I don't know on the Bethesda how. I mean, compared to Minecraft, no way, bro. We're talking apples to oranges there. That's way too small compared to Minecraft. No way. After all the decades of Minecraft, it's another world.
You're everyone in the world. I think maybe that's an exaggeration. Probably almost everyone in the world knows what Minecraft is, even if they don't have any idea. They don't own a console. They don't play video games. So that mind share with Minecraft in particular is massive. So yes, it would be cool if Xbox was like, "That's us. Minecraft is Xbox." And but that's more complicated. I think people in the industry care about that, and people in the industry invest in that. But the average person and the average mind share, they know Minecraft more than they know Xbox. Um, Super chat from JD Gamer, who has come up with the messaging that Xbox is going to put out regarding the Bethesda stuff. You ready for this? You ready for
Lay it on
their
me.
PR
Lay it on me.
statement? Today, we announced Bethesda joining Microsoft, and with that, know that we all want gamers to be able to enjoy our games through the Xbox platform and Game Pass. Look for our games anywhere you find Game Pass.
That's a very soft and subtle one right there. I like that a lot. Not bad. Not bad.
Not
Not
bad.
bad. I like that. I think that's a good one. That's a soft blow right there. Definitely will lead to a lot of questions from the general audience. But you know what? That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. I like that. Well
Yeah,
worded.
yeah, exactly. Like you said, it's soft. It's very on brand with Xbox right now. They want to, they just want to come across as a cool, chill company that loves gaming. Xbox Game Pass is the best value in gaming. and it's going to become even better when all Bethesda games are coming to Xbox Game Pass day and date. Yeah, and if you want to, get Bethesda games for the best price, sign up for Game Pass. And then at the very bottom of the article, they say only on Xbox platform.
I like that. That's
Super small
exciting.
font, yeah. Lead with the positives. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like we've talked about, it's going to be really interesting. But at the end of the day, I really want it to be done either way. I really just want them to come out and definitively say either way. Unfortunately, I'm kind of scared that they won't, and this conversation regarding exclusivity will permeate for eternity, and every single game that comes out is going to be plagued with this kind of speculation. But yeah, Phil, if you're watching, just come out, dude. Just do it. Just pull the band-aid off. Either way, just let us know what's going on so we don't have to have Bethesda and Xbox conversations every single week, Mike?
It will be fun, Miles. They have to do it, right? There's no question. Like my good friend Paris Lilly says from the XCast, it's like, now's the time you have to have this conversation because we can't continue to ask you the same questions every time we sit down for a PR event at some video game you're publishing, right? Like it has to happen. It's going down no matter what. And how you word that, what does it look like? You would much rather have the man on a screen, right? Unfortunately, we can't do it live and in events. You can't have the big press tour like they probably would, where they're stopping at the IGNs, the GameSpots, the Windows Centrals, and sitting down with all of you. But they will find the way to get the correct human feel to this, right? It's not going to be a blog post. It will be him on a screen. And then you best believe the next week, he's going to be on the tour talking with everybody and answering all of these questions because they just have to. It's a big deal and it's going to be a ton of fun. And this is also one of those, like, you best believe Phil Spencer and that team are going to be smiling. They're excited as can be to welcome Todd Howard and the team into this. They can't wait to share the enthusiasm and the fun, no matter where it falls, right? Even if they come out and say they're not exclusive, we're going to do it case by case, or we found a better middle ground, we want to do that, they're still going to be smiling. They're still going to be excited. This is a big deal to them, no matter what we as gamers want them to do and project our thoughts to them. Like, they're going to come out and tell us, like, yo, we're excited about this, and we're really happy we made this happen.
Yeah, they need to get the messaging right, and I'm sure that's a huge focus for them. You can tell they're all stoked. I don't know if you watched the Xbox podcast this week with Major Nelson. He was basically making some teases to the fact that they're going to have some big Bethesda news next week, basically saying, we have some cool stuff to announce once everything's in the can. So they're excited. They're ready. They probably honestly already have some stuff pre-produced, just ready to just drop as soon as the deal closes. But yeah, it's going to be monumental. It's going to be big. I want to see some faces. Like you said, bring out Pete Hines, bring out Todd Howard, bring out Phil Spencer, have them share what this means for them and the games they're making. Don't make this about money right off the bat, like for the average public. Make this about what this means for Bethesda games and why Bethesda games on Xbox are now going to be better than they've ever been. That needs to be the message that they control, especially if they want to be exclusive. If they're going to try to spin this as, because of this exclusivity, we can make games bigger and better than we've ever made them before, put the marketing spin on it. So at least the focus is on the games and not, we did this because we want to increase engagement with Xbox Game Pass, which in turn increases our revenue quarter over quarter, because the average person does not care. The average person does not want to hear that you're doing this so you can make a bunch more money. That's not that interesting to the average person.
So let's go back to the announcement, right? Do we want badass trailers or do we just want the blog post or the conversation? Like, do we expect Wolfenstein 3 because everybody thinks it's right around the corner, right? It's got to be. They're making Indiana Jones next. Like, do we expect a trailer and release date for Wolfenstein 3? Do we expect a Starfield trailer and some giant announcement? I talked about it on the Xcast of, we're so ingrained of summer being like the big E3. This is where you reveal everything. And when you look down at the calendar, it's hard to believe we've gone through a year of quarantine and we're in March now, right? And we're only a couple of months away from summer. Do I really come out and give you the 1-2 punch of Elder Scrolls and Starfield reveal trailers and everybody goes crazy on this kind of announcement? Or do you save that for summer? Do I need to have an announcement or some sort of trailer with this, Bethesda welcoming video here? What do you think?
I personally think straight out of the gate, we're not going to get massive trailers for Starfield, Wolfenstein 3. Like we talked about already, I think it's going to be more about the messaging and kind of confirming that this has gone through this is legitimate and this is what it means for the future. Xbox did hire or was trying to hire a full-time contract video producer, and the contract ended basically right after E3. So that leads me to believe, if I was a betting man, that they are going to work on a series of video showcases leading up to E3. So I don't think immediately we're going to get those big trailers, but I could see shortly after this announcement. You get the messaging right, you let people know what's going on, you let them know what this means, you give people time to digest that information, and then a couple weeks later you say, bam, here we go. Let's drop a couple big trailers. Let's give people a look at the future of Bethesda games on Xbox. And then leading into E3, you continue that momentum. And then the showcase of E3, maybe you save one or two like massive kind of like this. Maybe the Starfield gameplay trailer is like an E3 thing. We see Wolfenstein, we see some other Bethesda projects leading up to that, but then you have the big showcase. And that leads me to ask you a question. Do we think Bethesda will have its own showcase this year at E3, or is it just the Xbox showcase now?
It's tough, Miles. All right, two things really quick. One, want to give a shout out to chat. Raiden Blade, I see you. The guy that looks like Tom from Facebook, and my good friend John B with the correction of the Vault just being a holding company. Thank you for that. I just love the name The Vault, and I would love to see more of that. But thank you for the correction out there in the super chat. Want to give that. I don't know, Miles. E3 is so different now, right? It is a year now of E3 has been canceled. Nobody likes E3. Everybody trashes on E3. We're moving past E3. Everybody's doing their own thing. And we are so ingrained of, if you look back on it, it always has been Bethesda standing alone because they are strong enough to stand alone. They have enough games and studios to bring their own hour-long press conference, and they do have fun with it. Do I think you lump them in with the Xbox? Of course, 100%. I don't see why you would have to have their own now, right? They're part of the family, they're part of the team. And I think with how coronavirus has impacted so many game development stages here and what we've seen, right? And teams needing extra time, it would be almost crazy to think, oh, put Bethesda out there by themselves. They can hold their own. And like at the same time, Xbox can hold their own, because we know a lot of these games that you've seen, that you love, that you want, are like slowly being pushed farther and farther away, and we need more time to work on them. So why put two showcases out there and make them be like, come out and hold their own for a whole hour? Put them together. Show them that you're part of the family. Show them that you're part of this brand. I think it only strengthens the conference if you have everybody together in unison, as opposed to two separate entities that might have a little bit of weaker sides to them moving forward. I would have to say you'd put them together.
Yeah, I totally agree. Especially to bring up the previous point someone mentioned with Minecraft, is if you do want Bethesda games to be synonymous with the Xbox brand, having them in the Xbox showcase is the best way to do that. Jeff Grubb and I talked about this a little bit last week, but it's also unclear whether or not Xbox will officially be part of E3, because E3 is doing their digital only event. And I think they'll probably end up just doing their own video conference around the same time as E3, but I don't really know what brands at this point are going to be officially associated with E3. Because E3 is asking for 6 figures to basically be at this digital conference. And if I'm running a business like Xbox, where I have the resources, I've hired a video producer, I'm just going to make my own showcase and put it out online. I'm sure it's going to get as much, if not more, exposure. So do you think any big company will be involved with E3 officially this year?
It's a tough one, Miles. You know, E3 is kind of going to the wayside. People are seeing that they can save a lot of money doing it themselves, and they've proven that over this year of like making a lot of digital content and showing that they can put the faces on the screen and still have the same reaction, right? It's the question of, are we still holding on to what E3 was as a bastion of gamers and game companies, right? Is this truly the way? Do we want to hold everything for a week of news and press releases and fun trailers? Or are we going to take it on ourselves and everybody just kind of talk about it when they want to talk about it, right? And so the question becomes is, are you trying to be involved with E3? Are you trying to save E3? Is this the future of gaming, is to hold on to this 1 week in the summer that we have to be there for? And I don't think it is. I don't know if we'll see it, right? I think Xbox played a big factor in E3 2019 being, you know, with them, but not with them, being across the street, but still having the, you know, the whole party during the week and stuff. And it's a big deal. I think gamers still hold strong to E3 as the mecca, the Christmas day of all these game announcements, and it's tough to see it leave, but also we're seeing the real world of like, hey man, like if you want to announce your game, announce your game. If you want to hold your own, event, hold your own event whenever, right? And so it is tough to be like, yo, I gotta wait till summer for this 1 week. You gotta be there because in my mind, we've proven we don't need that, right? Go do your Ubisoft Forward at September. Go do something in the middle of March. I would like to see us not be so beholden to summertime and like look at the whole 365 days of the year and try something else. But I don't know. That's a lot of money. A lot of money on the table. It doesn't really generate more press than me coming out in July by myself as an Xbox event. I don't think so. Seems to be the same coverage either way. I seem to be in the same news media cycle for the week, and then I'm gone past that.
Exactly. I feel like historically, a lot of things have gotten buried in the week of E3. When you have so much stuff focused, all the massive big titles get, obviously they shine. Obviously, those are the things that are talked about for weeks and months. But then there's these, I would say 50%, more than 50% of those games just fall under the radar and get completely lost. So as much as people don't like Summer Games Fest and that kind of cadence of information, I think realistically, a lot of companies have realized that they can get more market share, they can get more publicity, and they can get more attention if they don't put it in the same week as all these massive, monstrous games. So I agree. Like, as fun as it was to have E3 be the Christmas for gamers and have something to look forward to every year and talk about the speculation leading up to E3 and ooh, what's Xbox going to show? What's PlayStation going to show? I think it's dead. I think it's dying. I think the way that companies are going to present information has changed forever. And I think a lot of that was just kind of forced necessity for them to figure out how to do their own digital events. And then they're like, oh, wow, okay, actually, this isn't so bad. Like, I don't have to rely on E3 to get the message out. I can just put out a little video here, Nintendo Direct style video. People love those. And I get way more attention and way more publicity doing it that way. So as much as E3 holds a special place in gaming history, I'm kind of in the camp that it's dying, bro. I don't see it living for another 5 years, personally.
Especially this year where all these live events are canceled, right? Like nobody's actually going to come out there and be able to go hands-on with the game. Nobody's going to be at your live press conference. We're not renting out the Microsoft Theater anymore and like putting bodies inside of the seats anymore. So it is very interesting to see. And I think we're going to see a big moment here in this summer of like, no, we're stepping away from that. We're going to do our own. We'll see you that same week. We'll see you in the month or we'll see you next month. But like, it is time to step away and create something new. And it's fun as well of like, we're in a new world now. We've definitely seen across all sorts of landscapes in life that things can be done differently and they're going to be done differently, whether we like them or not, unfortunately, moving forward. And that's just how life is going to go. And that's the best part about life. We evolve, we grow, we adapt, we get better. And maybe it is for the better that we step away from this just tried and true formula and try something new.
I agree. Times have got to change and we got to change with them. I miss the movie theaters. I would go to the movies consistently with my wife. It's one of those things that, once COVID clears up, I don't really know that that's something we're going to continue to like do consistently. I think things have changed so much and, a lot of publishers have found ways to provide those movies and films digitally that I don't know that that's going to be something we ever go back to doing the way we did before. And I think that's kind of where E3's at. If the main appeal of E3 was going and having the ability to play these games and see them in person, why not do that remotely? Why not do kind of what Steam does and just provide this week of demos? So all the games that would be at E3 normally, we're going to give you a demo. We're going to give you a little build that you can download on your Xbox. You can play this demo from home. You don't have to fly out to LA to do this. You don't have to wait in a 16-hour line to play 5 seconds of a game. You can just download it on your Xbox. And I think people are trying to come up with solutions for that. And the average person, I think, understands that that's more convenient for them. That's more beneficial to them. But yeah, times are changing, and it's kind of sad, but adapt or die, Mike. All right.
It's only going to get better, right? Times are changing, and yes, I see some people out in the chat of like, it's a part of gaming. I'm going to miss that, and I totally agree. And I think Miles will agree with you too. We're going to miss that feeling. We're going to miss that vibe, but at the same time, that it's only going to get bigger and better, and it's going to adapt to fit everyone's lifestyle, right? You don't have to shell out thousands of dollars to fly to LA, find a hotel deep down in downtown LA, sweat next to somebody, cough next to somebody, touch the same controller as everybody, jabroni and their mother, and play a 3-minute demo, right? Like, we're going to make it so everybody across the universe is going to be able to play these games. I think you got to give some love last time to, I believe, Jeff Keighley with the Summer Games Fest with that demo event for the week, right? It was
Yeah.
really cool to turn on my Xbox and have, what, 30 titles that you could download and demo, right? Like, let's bring demos back. Let's make demos relevant again, even if they are just for a timed event. And here's the moment now where you don't have to spend all that money, because guess what? Not all of us have that disposable income. Not all of us are in the industry where I get that sweet industry badge that I can go there before everybody else, right? I went to E3, my first and only E3, as general public, right? I stood there in the lines. I fought to just go out there and play. I was there early to the late to just try to play these demos. And it's like, man, you know what would have been really cool? Being able to play this demo at my house, or like not spending thousands upon thousands of dollars to feel like I was part of something, when really you're not missing much over the 3-day weekend. I can promise you that, right? This is a media blitz. This is for the media to talk about it and share that to everybody else. But how cool would it be if, like, you could just play all that and you could try that and you could be the media and talk about it with your friends instead of having to shell out all this money just to go out there and play for a weekend? So it is going to be really exciting how we move forward. It's going to be really, really great. And it's only going to get better. You best believe that.
You best believe that. Quick shout out to the 250 people hanging out with us this fine afternoon, morning. I know I got some people who hang out like 2 or 3 a.m. Again, really appreciate you guys joining us live. The fun of this show and the reason I do the live format is so we can have the interaction with the audience. Like we talked about at the first half of the show, it's about the community, it's about having these conversations, and it's about kind of sharing our passions for gaming. So it's really cool to have so many people hanging out, just kind of chatting Xbox and gaming with us.
I love that, Miles. You got a super chat out there.
Super chat. Oh yes, Chief Mint. Oh, a little fact check. Yeah, so Vault is a placeholder. After the merger, Vault will be dissolved. So yes, I had heard that Vault was just a placeholder to put Bethesda until the deal closes. And then I believe, from my understanding, ZeniMax is still going to be its own thing, at least by name. I don't know. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't understand all the legalities of it, but I think the ZeniMax name is still a factor. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but from my understanding, ZeniMax is still by name involved in some capacity. Don't know what that looks like. TBH though.
It's gonna be so exciting. It will be really fun. Of like, there's a lot of question marks that will be answered, and we'll get to know all of this, right? And then the press tour, right? Like, Phil will go on all these different podcasts. He'll join Miles and Jez and the team at Windows
absolutely.
Central, and like, he's gonna answer these questions. Any questions you got, we're gonna ask him, right? And that's gonna be the fun part, is like dissecting all of this and learning, like, what's next? What does this mean? What does that mean? Are they working themselves? Are they under their own umbrella? How much, will you dictate to them? How hands-on will you be? Be really, really fun to see, because like Miles said before, we've never seen anything like this. There's never been something where it's $7.5 billion with the biggest and baddest studios being acquired by Xbox or PlayStation or Nintendo. And like, what does that mean, right? What does that mean for Todd Howard and the team? It's going to be wild.
So moving on to the kind of final main topic for the show, and this is something that I've talked about previously, but now that you're here in the hot seat, I'm going to pick your brain on a couple things regarding the future of Xbox. So the Bethesda Xbox deal likely closed already. We should be hearing some news about that very soon. Xbox has made it very clear that they are aiming to acquire more. They're not done. They're looking to scoop up more talent. They're looking to scoop up more big names to pull more people in the Xbox Game Pass. So I'm going to hit you with 2 questions. You have an you have a check. You can write any amount and you can pick any publisher. As Phil Spencer, who are you getting for Xbox? That's question 1. Question 2, who do you realistically think is the next target for Xbox?
All right, blank check. Let's have some fun writing some blank checks there, Miles. Why
Let's
not,
go,
right?
let's go.
I mean, my mind jumps right over to Ubisoft, because I've had so much fun over the years with Ubi and what they've created, right? From Assassin's Creed to Tom Clancy games and everything in between. And I really love all of that, right? And I think it fits so well in any gaming portfolio, right? That is the biggest and the baddest. And it was funny because I started to do a little prep for this last night, and I was asking my friends, I was like, so who is the biggest and the baddest? And it always comes down like really the same names, right? You have Activision, EA, Ubisoft. Then you can go down to like Square, Sega, Capcom, Valve, Rockstar, and Take-Two. You got Bungie, you got Epic Games, From Software, and it's like the list goes on. You're like, can they really buy that? Can people do that? You know, could Sony buy any of these people? It's just crazy to think about the biggest and the baddest. And I don't know if we'll see such a monumental move after this Bethesda anytime soon, right? I don't think we'll see it in the next 6 months of any of these big names. But if I was going Blake Check, man, I would like to see Rockstar and Take-Two, right? I think there's a lot of great games in the portfolio. I think I'm that Xbox guy who's like exclusivity, baby, it's all day. I think you'd have some great stuff there with that one. So I might lean towards Rockstar and Take-Two Interactive for my blank check going
All right,
on
well,
there.
what would that amount look like? If you had to put a
Oh
figure
my
on
God.
that, what would
You
that
think
look like?
$7.5 billion is a lot? Get ready for trying to buy this team. I'm gonna have to shell out so much. I'm gonna have to sell everybody. What would that look like? Oh my God. Well, I mean, it's still in the top charts. It's still selling. People are playing a lot of GTA Online, buying a lot of shark cards out there. And then on top of that, I got the library of games there. Oh my God. Then you got 2K basketball. That sells a lot of my team packs. A lot of my team packs are going to cost a lot of money there, Miles. I mean, that's probably in the ballpark of anywhere from 20 to 50. You know, so I'm going to give him my favorite number. I'll give him 22 billion. Signed on the dotted line. Let's make it happen. You know, 22 billion.
Just coming in with the biggest check that's been written in the last decade, slapping it on the table. Let's go.
Let's go. And they would laugh at me. I would look like the Microsoft execs back in the day going to talk to Nintendo. They would laugh me out the door and they'd be like, nah, Mike, we're good. We're going to be just fine without you. And that's like the fun part of looking at that group of like, man, that's a badass team. And that's a lot of badass developers making some cool games. And I don't know if they'll ever be bought, but we're in a landscape now where it's like, grab as much as you can, hold it off and keep it behind the wall now, you know? And so nobody can't be bought, right? We've seen that now with Bethesda. There is a number somewhere, but a number for that team is going to be a whole lot of money.
Oh yeah, that's a scary number to even comprehend. So yeah, I agree. That would be massive. That would be, you think the headlines for Bethesda are huge. Xbox came out saying they own Rockstar, they own Grand Theft Auto. Whoo, man, that'd be some spite. That'd be some salt as well. There'd be some indications about exclusivity regarding Grand Theft Auto, because we've heard the long-running rumors. Again, these are probably not likely at all, and I don't see a world where this ever happens, in case people are gonna take this out of context. But Grand Theft Auto 6 being a PlayStation exclusive is something I consistently see pop up in internet discourse. And I think that stems from people want that. People, again, the PlayStation fans want to be able to say, haha, Xbox guys, you can't play Grand Theft Auto. But that company is about the Benjamins, and you're not going to make all the Benjamins that they've made previously by putting that on one platform. So I don't ever see a world where Grand Theft Auto is exclusive, unless the paycheck that they get, like you said, is 20 plus billion.
Oh,
Woo.
I mean, God, think of the lineage to all the games you'd be getting to, from Bully to all the Grand Theft Autos, the future of all those franchises and where you'd go with that. Like, it would be something special there. And that's a special group that we all know and love. But like, man, even when you say like, oh, the next one could be PlayStation exclusive, it's like, no way. They make so much money. Like, there's they're putting that on everything, man. They can put it on your phone. Okay. Once they can figure out to put it on a phone, they put, y'all got phones, right? Well, guess what? You got this game. Give me your shark card money is right.
The theme of the show. Y'all got phones. Y'all got
phones. Get it. What about, if you had the blank check, who are you really going for, right? Are you going for the big dogs? Are you going for this mid tier? I know you love From Software. You speak highly of it, but like, are you going middle of the road? Like, when you say blank check, Miles, that means I have to go for the biggest and the baddest, right? Like, I got to go for Valve Corp. I got to go out there and grab Activision Blizzard. Like, you're not going to hand somebody a blank check and be like, oh, just go buy that small studio. No, we're talking about them on the next situation here. We got to grab the biggest and the baddest right now.
Exactly. If we're going blank check scenario, From Software would be dope. That would be, that'd be a side deal that I'd work out, as if I was head of Xbox. That'd be a side project. I'd be hustling that. But blank check, big money scenario, I want to see Capcom. I want to see
Oh,
Xbox, that catalog of incredible IP, and imagine Capcom's catalog in Xbox Game Pass. Imagine every Resident Evil coming to Xbox Game Pass, Devil May Cry, Monster Hunter. Capcom has some incredible IP that they're sitting on. And you take all their studios and then you kind of give the option to Xbox Game Studios teams to develop those IP. We'd be seeing way more Capcom games, and we'd see a lot of those kind of dormant Capcom franchises probably see a resurgence if they have, the means to do that. So if we're going blank check, I'm slapping money down for Capcom. Let's go.
that's a fun one. And they're on the rise right now. They're having a really hot streak right here with Monster Hunter and Resident Evil. Street Fighter is hot still in the fighting game community. So, yeah, I like that Capcom poll. That's a really good one right there. And it's fun to think about that, right? My friend Paris over at the Kinda Funny Xcast, throughout Konami, and people went wild thinking about Konami and, what that could be, right? Could they buy that? Could they just take the IPs because they're so in pachinko games, But, it's a fun situation to think of, blank check. And you see the chat right now is blowing up with the ideas they would have, right? Like, you got to remember, this isn't me and Miles telling you the real business and what we see back here. This is all like, hey, what's the fun one? And so I
Yeah.
like seeing people say like, oh man, I'd love to do this. If I had to blank check, I'd do that. It's like, have fun with it, go wild out there,
Yeah.
because it's really fun to think about that, especially in the world now that we live in, where it is that talk of grabbing up studios, buying these up, becoming exclusive. Right now, there's a big conversation to be had. And yeah, this is all fun and stuff, but like one day we might get to that point, because it seems to be we're taking this road now of like seeing what Disney has done and what they're currently doing. And now looking at the games industry and what Xbox has just done with Bethesda, we're moving to that route where everybody's got a number, and maybe one day we will get to that number.
Exactly. We are in the war of exclusives right now. When we look at streaming services like Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, Paramount Plus, everyone wants you to subscribe to their service, and everyone is fighting their hardest to incentivize you to subscribe to their service. Everyone wants the killer IP, the killer must-watch show, a must-play game in their service. And Xbox sees that model, and that's what they're trying to build with Xbox Game Studios, is they want this consistent flow of games that are not just great, but are must-play. And that's been something that Xbox has historically struggled with. When you compare them to PlayStation specifically, PlayStation arguably has way more must-play kind of headline-dominating games than Xbox has had in the last several years. So Xbox understands that, and they are working their asses off to correct that. And that's why we saw the Bethesda deal. That's why we saw them invest so heavily in Xbox Game Studios and acquiring talented developers that they can give the resources to make these big games, is because Game Pass for them is the metric of their success. Right now, Xbox is being graded super heavily on the adaptation to Xbox Game Pass. And they're basically been given those blank checks, like we've seen with Bethesda, to make Game Pass the definitive game streaming, or not game streaming, but gaming service. And I think it's in the next year or two, once these big titles start dropping, I think that's going to become crystal clear. And I really hope Sony has plans to figure out a proper answer. People look at PlayStation Plus, which kills it. People look at PlayStation Now, which is okay. PlayStation Now needs a lot of work. And as we've seen with their subscription numbers, it's not on the same level at all. In a very short time, Game Pass has, I think, what is it? PlayStation Now is like 3 million subscribers, maybe about 3 million. And Game Pass is at 18 million. We're seeing a 5 times increase in a very short period of time compared to PSNOW. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for a lot of people to compete with Microsoft's money. Again, we talked about this earlier. Xbox could be the bad guy if they want. They have all the money to do it. But it really is going to be a battle of platform services and platform exclusives. As much as Xbox has been tiptoeing around exclusivity, ultimately that's the road that we're on here, Mike.
Yeah, well, it will be fun if, like, when you say that and you say it so well, Miles, there's like immediately people, and I know I too, I jump right to Netflix. I think of Hulu, right? Like, you think of Netflix back in the day was like, here's the beginning, just like Game Pass is. We're right at the beginning of this, where your mom is getting DVDs sent in the mail, and you're like, what is that? And she's like, oh, this is the greatest. I love this. It's so cool. And you're like, all right. And then like 5 years down the line, it's like, yo, you better have Netflix. Everybody's got Netflix. I watch Netflix. This is Netflix. I love Netflix. And so it's like, here's Game Pass, right? There's this situation where we're in this learning phase. We're growing, we're adapting, and like 5 years from now, you're buying up content, you're getting all the content to be yours, you're running it successfully on xCloud, on PC, on Xbox. You're going to be able to instantly play these games anywhere without having to download the full install. And like, we're going to get to that. And like, Xbox is here at the forefront taking the first steps, and they are very poised to be that leader, right? But at the same time, we love a little competition to elevate both teams and get everybody better there. You know what I mean? And it's always nice to have a Hulu, right? I'm mad at Sony coming out with their own little service for $15 a month. I love having the extra stuff. That's the coolest part about this. And it'll be really fun to see how they grow, especially with Xbox being at the forefront of this and us, the gamers, getting to experience this live and getting to react with them and grow with them, right? Like you see Xcoin in the chat, please, where is EA Play for PC Game Pass, right? And it's like, that's the conversation. We're growing, we're learning, we're seeing that there is question marks when you do all this, and there's going to be learning curves, there's going to be delays, there's going to be issues that you have with these services, right? And so hopefully 5 years, 10 years down the road, this is the biggest, baddest thing, and it runs perfectly and it's smoothed out as can be. But like, we are here in the beta phase. We're here in the first 6 months to a year, multiple years of like, this is what it feels like, right? And it's really cool to be a part of this and see where it could go.
Yeah, the growth that Xbox has seen with Game Pass is pretty incredible. We have AK in the chat who says PS Now is at 2.3 million. So yeah, with that figure, PS Now has been around longer, significantly longer than Xbox Game Pass has. So clearly Sony is looking at what Xbox is doing. We all talk about how Xbox is looking at what PlayStation is doing with their games and their studios. But we know PlayStation is looking at what Xbox is doing with their service, because undeniably their services are performing well, and undeniably those services are growing well. And once it gets to the point where those services are monumental, we're gonna have a lot of people trying to jump on that train a little late, as we've seen with what Paramount Plus is the new. We're gonna get to a point where there's too many streaming services, and not all of them are gonna succeed. But the ones that were out of the gate strong and first, like Netflix, are gonna be around and they're gonna continue to grow. But if you're trying to catch a trend 2-3 years into its kind of arc, it's going to be really hard to catch up. So I really hope PlayStation is positioning itself to answer that quickly, because it's going to become a case where they cannot ignore Game Pass. Jim Ryan said that their business model is not built for a service like Game Pass in a somewhat recent interview. That's not the exact quote, but something to that effect. Basically talked about how their current business is not set up to support that. They're going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to figure it out real quick, because it's going to be pretty scary to see what the numbers for Game Pass look like at the end of 2021 if you're a competitor.
Oh, it's my favorite. And, you know, it's really cool because you see this in all facets of life, like the big dogs who come out and stand out, and then the ones that just can't survive and make it there. And I play so many Battle Royale games with my friends, right? We actually made a podcast of where we try a Battle Royale game every single week. And it's really cool to see like who's the front runners and who really stands out and survives. And then here's these cool games that like, here's a Paramount Plus. Hey, we got some cool content. Here's a cool week's worth of stuff. And then just, okay, see you later. We go back to the big dogs, right? And so it is Xbox trying to stake their flag and be like, yo, we're going to be here forever. We want to be your Fortnite, right? We want to be your Call of Duty Warzone. We want to be here. We don't want to be your, you know, side game of Hyperscape. We don't want to just come to the wayside. And man, oh man, is it exciting to see. And it's going to be really great. And especially if Sony can pull something off, if Nintendo can pull something off, maybe, you know, Valve can do something, but do more people jump on this trend, right? Like we've seen so many other things in different facets of life. They jump on the trend, they try to ride the trend, ride the wave, and hope they can stay up on the wave. And some people crash down, as you know, Miles, as you're surfing terms, right? Sometimes they crash into the break, or sometimes they ride it long enough to look cool enough, you know, but it's going to be really exciting for sure.
It is. That is what is really cool about gaming right now. It's growing. People are investing in it. People are excited about it. So we get to have these really cool conversations about the what ifs. What if this happens? What if this happens? What is Xbox doing? What is PlayStation going to do to answer that? And it's exciting. Like, obviously, we're probably a little more invested, and the people watching the stream are probably a little more invested in the kind of nitty gritty. But even just as a general person, just standing by the wayside, not super invested in the gaming industry, it's impossible to ignore. Pretty much everyone I know at this point plays video games of some kind. Like it's super rare for me to talk to just an average person on the street or at work or whatever who doesn't play video games. Like that's the point that we're at. Where when I was growing up, it was kind of like we talked about. You're a nerd. It's a niche thing. You're a gamer, but now it's people just play video games. It's not really your sole identifier as a person. It's just a hobby you have among a bunch of others. So it's cool that it's that widely accepted, and it's cool that there is so much passion and energy behind it. And it still baffles my mind how much money video games generate every year. It's still hard for me to comprehend that video games are bigger than music and film and TV combined at this point. It's wild to think about.
So, when you say it like that, it's incredible to think about it, right? It's so much fun. To your second question here. Now, what do I think is the next one, right? If I don't have the blank check, what if I think is the truly next one here?
Mhm.
And it's really exciting to think of what this means, right? Because to me, this doesn't just mean flat out buying a publisher, right? To me, this also means partnerships, right? Like, what could be the next big partnership that will continue to elevate Xbox Game Pass and the Xbox Studio branch? And so I want to look at it in a couple of lenses here. And I also always like to break down what I have in front of me with Xbox and what I see the strengths and the weaknesses are. And I think everybody will agree before the Bethesda, before Perfect Dark and the Initiative Quadruple A studio that was built to make this, it was always third person action adventure games, right? I don't have The Last of Us. I don't got God of War. Why can't Microsoft figure this out, right? And it looks like that team has really gone that way with, the Initiative being that quadruple A game. Sure, it's Perfect Dark, and a lot of people have mixed emotions about Perfect Dark. I am a Perfect Dark fan, so I'm excited about this. I can't wait for this. I think Bethesda also fills that with, what their games provide and what their studios can create. And I've always looked around of like, what else, right? I think horror games have been lacking, right? Horror game is such a niche market as well. It's hot, it's not, it's kind of in, but it's nice to have that rounding out the studio and filling out the full pie chart that we have. And I think we're going to hit that with Tango Gameworks. Of course, they are making Ghostwire Tokyo. That will be a timed exclusive, but look at their pedigree of Evil Within, right? I like that. I'm excited by that. When we look around at of horror games, it's like, well, Bloober Team, they did an all right job there, right? They got me scared. They got me excited. They proved that they can grow over time from Layers of Fear to the Blair Witch Project and onward into the medium. And so it's like, man, I'm not mad at that. If we were ever to talk about that and see where we could go from there. I also look at family games and party games, right? I'm a huge believer in Fusion Frenzy needs to return. 1 versus 100 is an incredible game that we can capitalize on. And so, like, where's that family friendly party type game? And I really love Team 17 and what they've done, right? That's Overcooked. That's Moving Out. That's so many more of those fun, family friendly party games that you've played before. And like, those are what's missing to me. I miss those times, the couch co-op, the online co-op that we need, and that we love, and that anybody can play, right? I love the games where I could show my mom the game and she's going to have fun. I love showing the game to Miles and his wife and they're going to have fun with me. I love showing a bunch of high schoolers, middle schoolers, and elementary school kids this game, and they're going to have fun with it. So I think that's where I really like to look at is like, what can I elevate there? Because we hear the banjo talk. I'm a big Conkers guy. We miss Conkers, right? And it's like, could we elevate that? And I like Team 17. I also looking at the indie level of like Annapurna. Annapurna's got a lot of bangers out there, a lot of bangers to come out of that publishing unit. And it's like, that would be fun. You know what I mean? And so you don't always have to look at the biggest and the baddest, right? And it's like, what do we do? And those are kind of the studios that I would look at, right? And talk about and the publishing arms there. But then over on the flip side, it's like partnership now. When I look at Game Pass, you see it in the chat. People are upset about EA Play not really being on the PC side, right? And we are a couple of months into it, and we're getting some bangers this month with Madden, with NHL, and like they're putting out a lot of their bigger sports games, and we're getting more of the library, right? There's that tiered in EA Play of like EA Play playlist #1, EA playlist premium, right? And so I want to see this partnership go longer. I feel like we've had it, and it feels like it's been a while, but it really hasn't been. But I'm already thinking of like, what happens when that goes away, Miles? Like I'm already worried of like, don't take EA Play away from me. I'm not ready for that yet. And so I am really excited to see like, what do these partnerships entail? How long is the EA Play license going to be for? What happens when that drops off? Can we grab an Ubisoft Plus? Can we somehow get Ubi, whatever the heck they call that thing, and like get that streaming service? Can we work with Activision and Blizzard and try to get all the Call of Duties? Like, what's the next big partnership as well? Gets me really excited when we think of what can Xbox do, how they continue to elevate. And it's not always just by the studio for me or by the publishing unit. It is also like, hey, like what partnership could we strike up here and how could we elevate that? Because EA Play has been really, really big to me, and I've really enjoyed EA Play, and I'm afraid to see it leave one day, but I'm ready for like what could be next. So that's where I kind of look at right there.
You bring up an excellent point about EA Play. I think a lot of us look at EA Play and Game Pass and just think that's a forever thing. EA Play is going to be in Game Pass forever. That's awesome. Let's go. But we don't know that that's going to be in there forever. And to your point, like you don't miss it till it's gone. So what if it gets to a point where I'm looking at all these sweet EA games and I'm, planning my backlog. Like, all right, cool. I'll beat this. After I beat this, I'll jump into Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I'll finally get to this. And then 6 months, a year from now, they announce, oh yeah, okay, in a month, EA Play's leaving. And you're like, oh, what? What? EA Play's not Game Pass? Because I've thought about this as well. Is EA Play and the rumors of Uplay Plus coming to Game Pass, are they really just using Game Pass as a way to introduce more people to their own subscription service? And maybe this isn't a permanent partnership, but this is a way that to leverage the value of their own subscription. They bundle it with Game Pass, get people accustomed to having that library, and then they scoop the library away. And EA's like, you want it? Extra $10 a month. Sorry, we're out. You got to we gave you a taste. You want it, you gotta pay. Is that the world we live in? Or is it permanent? Is it forever? We don't know. We don't know.
It is really well said right there, Miles. Like you have to remember that like these other companies have their own streaming services, right? EA Play has been around for a while. I was playing for EA Play on my Xbox and getting those kind of playlists for a while there. I think I paid for it for almost like a full year before it came to Game Pass, right? I was already ingrained in that system, right? And I was looking into Uplay Plus and seeing what that was all about. And so it is interesting of like, there will be a moment when they do say goodbye, right? And when they leave, did they garner enough love and attention from us gamers on the Xbox side to be like, oh man, like I really enjoyed all those EA titles. Maybe I should give them $5 a month or $10 a month and keep this kind of cycle going in and out. But, when does that end? How long does that deal go for? How much more money do they have to shell out? Because there will be a new negotiation, right, Miles? Like, hey, we had a great year with y'all, Microsoft. Thank you so much. But like, this is what we want now. You know what I mean? Microsoft's going to have to answer that, right? Or vice versa, whatever that looks like. But there is a conversation every single time because they have their own service. They can do it themselves, but it's only a benefit being over here.
Like we talked about, when the war of services, and there is going to be a day when these services feel like, hey, you know what? We're the ones bringing in all these subscribers to Game Pass. People are subscribing to Game Pass because we have Madden. And then they're going to, want to renegotiate those terms. And if Xbox doesn't want to pay what they want, they're going to pull away. And then we're going to have this world where we have to pay for, 5-6 different subscription services for gaming if we want to take advantage of all those full libraries. So yeah, that is an interesting point. I'm glad you brought it up because nobody's really talking about that. No one's talking about what that road looks like for EA Play, Uplay Plus coming to Game Pass. We have no idea, and it's probably very likely that those deals are not forever deals. So, got people in the chat thinking, people talking about how rough that would be, and
people are excited. I mean, as well, you can also use the leverage of like, hey, EA, we don't want to pay that, right? We got Ubisoft waiting in the mix. Maybe we'll go talk to them, right? Like they don't have to do this, right? But like, no matter where you fall, if you think I'm right or wrong, like there's a conversation. This is business that they're going to have. And both sides are going to meet at the table and say, hey, we had a great time. Like this was fun. We engaged a lot. We want to do it again. And one side's going to be like, well, I'm going to need more money, or like, you're going to have to come down a little bit. Like this is a conversation, whether you think it's right or wrong. And one day we're going to get to this point because it was an awesome win to get them on there. And the coolest part is like, there are people working at Microsoft who get to broker these deals, that get to look at the landscape and be like, man, we saw a giant uptick when we brought your service to Game Pass, right? We loved it. Players were playing your games, and they're on the opposite side of the table like, oh my God, you know how many my team packs I sold? It was crazy, y'all. Thanks for bringing
Yeah.
Madden to the table, right? Like, it was awesome. We loved this and that. And all of our players were boosted. And it's like, these people are going to come to the table and talk about it because of this service that Microsoft is trying to double down on and increase for all the players out there. So it's really, really cool to see what that is. But yeah, my mind jumps to partnerships, Miles. Like, as much as I love the idea of buying studios, and now we kind of get into like the big bad studios, right? Like these big studios that would almost be like Bethesda, where it's like, that's groundbreaking to see somebody bought that, right? I like to think of partnerships as well because it's something I use all the time and something we might not think about here as we move forward.
Yeah, Xbox has made it clear that they are looking at more third-party partnerships as well. So I think that's strategically a smart business move for them. You don't have to go through all the legality of acquiring it, but they can use the metrics of stuff like Game Pass to say, look at the success that we've had here. Like, we have numbers that show if you do this and if you work with us, you are going to sell more money than you've sold previously with any of your titles, and more people are going to be playing your games, therefore increasing the value and notoriety of whatever game you put out next. So there is data that shows working with Xbox and working with Xbox Game Pass is beneficial, despite, a lot of the skeptics online who say it's an unsustainable practice and that it's, unfair to the developers. We've seen way more developers come out and say the exact opposite than we've seen any developer come out and say, I was in Game Pass and I didn't make any money. I have not seen anyone come forward and say that, which tells a lot about the value of the service from a developer and publisher standpoint. And I'm going to get to Michael Kulik's super chats here, who's just been killing it with the super chats. 2 back to back. We got Microsoft should definitely try to grab Remedy and From Software. Remedy, however, would be a match made in heaven. Alan Wake 2, what's up? When are we getting that, Mike? What's the holdup?
what's up with that? Is right. I'm over here playing Control Definitive Edition. I'm like, yo, I would just want more of this. I'm actually excited to see what Remedy has for this Crossfire X, because Miles, I played the Crossfire X beta, the multiplayer beta.
Oh yeah,
very unimpressed. I was like, not my thing.
Camp.
You know what I mean? Not my thing. And I know it's huge. I know it's kind of like the CS:GO way out in other countries, and people think like it's massive, right? And I'm down for that, right? If it's a massive deal, that's awesome. But like, now Remedy is coming in to make a single player game of that. Are you pulling people from this multiplayer world to come check out a single player title? Are you getting us to play the single player title, hoping that I'm going to go to multiplayer? Like, that's a fun, interesting one, especially with Remedy at the helm of it, of like, what is that going to look like? How is that going to feel? Because I played that multiplayer and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this campaign if this is the same thing as this, like, oh my gosh. So we'll see.
I feel the exact same way. I was super unimpressed by Crossfire X in terms of a multiplayer game. I gave it a fair shot, probably 2 hours total. But wow, I don't think at any point I was ever actually having fun, which is a huge red flag if you're trying to make a competitive shooter succeed. But Remedy does make killer campaigns, so I'm very curious to see what their campaign looks like in this world. I'm also a bit nervous about the future of Remedy because they are talking about, their games aren't selling well, but that's fine because they're still getting a lot of projects. So Remedy is currently working on 5 projects right now. Are they in a situation where they're spreading their team too thin? Are we going to have a string of just okay releases from Remedy because their big hyper-focused releases haven't been selling in the way that they need to? I love Remedy. I love what they do. I want to see them have the comfort and capabilities to make a massive, great game. But when I hear that they are working on 5 games at once, I'm nervous. I'm scared to see what that looks like. Because as we've seen with people like Platinum Games, when you start spreading yourself that thin and when you start committing to all these projects, it sounds good on paper and you tell yourself, yeah, I can do this. I can make it happen. But then the reality hits and you're like, I can't make Scalebound. We're going to have to cancel Scalebound. Like, I had these obligations. I can't do it. Is Remedy going to get to a point where they have to start canceling these previously announced games because they've overcommitted? I don't know. It would be awesome if Xbox picked up Remedy, and as I've talked about already, From Software. But
that would be killer.
I've had a lot of people tell me that that's impossible because Sony owns as like a share in the parent company of From Software. And I looked it up, and I think it's like a 1% stock, like a 1% share. So I don't think Sony having a 1% share in this parent company completely makes it impossible, which is kind of the rhetoric I've seen online. Is it likely? I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe. Who knows? I'd love to see it. Is Xbox going to do it? I don't know. Does From Software even want to do it? I don't know. But I'd be stoked about it.
Let's see how well this Bethesda deal goes through and how everything pans out in a couple of years. And you never know who will be jumping and raising their hand going, yeah, we'll take that check. I'm fine with joining the team now. You know what I mean? It will be very exciting as well with that.
It's awesome to see people like Tim Schafer come out and say, like, we can make the games we want now. Like, it's always been an issue for us, like worrying about finances. We've always been scared that if we make this game, that it's not going to do well, and then we're going to not be able to pay our employees. So being under Xbox and being an Xbox Game Pass at least gives them a buffer. They can take more risks. They can make weird games. We can see a Man-Eater from Double Fine or something in that realm where it's just a weird game that maybe shouldn't be a massive success, but is still awesome and fun to play. And I don't want to see those games go away, because we kind of lost that this last generation. Like the AA tier, like for a while just disappeared because they couldn't survive. They weren't making enough money. They were investing too much money. And then, the number of copies sold didn't make sense to keep the developer going. So we saw all these great developers shuttered. Visceral, rest in peace. Dead Space, tragic, absolutely tragic. We shouldn't live in a world where Visceral makes incredible games and gets shuttered because they didn't sell well. But that's the reality that we are living in. And, again, maybe I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid, but I genuinely believe that Game Pass gives those teams more flexibility to make the games that they want without the risk of going out of business and being shut down.
Another one there that I'm thinking of when you ask, like, what studio should they look at next? Of course, we're on an Xbox podcast. We love Xbox. Bungie. Like, everybody talks about Bungie, right? Bringing them back to the family, doing it all over again. And we've seen them really grow, right? We've seen them evolve. We've seen them take on new ideas and really crush it, right? And I would love to see what we can do. I mean, me and my friends play the Halo Master Chief Collection all the time, and we love playing old school Halo 3. And we just love yelling Bungie, where you at, right? We miss Bungie. And so it would be cool if, like, what does that number look like? What does that deal look like? What would they do? What do they want to create, right? What do they want to do when they know they can do it all, right? And we've seen them with Destiny 1 and 2 evolve, and what they're going to do next, right, is really exciting. And so, yeah, bring them back to the family, right? That's the softball easy one, Miles, right? When you ask these questions, and if anybody ever goes on a podcast or you ever talking with your friends, like somebody asks these questions, you're like, oh man, there's so many options. I don't know. I'm overwhelmed, right? You just yell Bungie. People will get excited. Oh yeah, I love Bungie. Bungie's great. We know Bungie. Bungie's great. Let's bring back Bungie. This is an easy answer right there because everybody loves Bungie.
Yeah, sadly, Bungie is more synonymous with the Xbox than Minecraft is, probably. But yeah, I would love to see Bungie. Bungie would be cool. That's been a rumor for a while now, is that there's been talks that they've fallen through and that they've restarted again. That's been going on for a while. Again, hard to say if any of that's legitimate or if it is. It's one of those things, like those business dealings we don't really hear about until they're basically done. Nobody's going to whisper a word of that until it's like documents are being brought to the table. So it's really hard to kind of predict and speculate based on, rumors when it comes to acquisitions, because I'm not a lawyer, but that stuff is complicated. The legalities of acquisitions and all, you look at those stacks of paper, hundreds of pages that say, like, okay, you can make games only for Xbox. It takes you 5 days to read that document that says Bungie is only making games on Xbox. We can look at it on those simple terms and say Xbox owns Bungie, they're only making Xbox games. But on paper, that's 5,000 pages. It's insane.
It's really exciting too. It's like, I love that it's like, oh, we hear rumors, this and that. It's like, you best believe this is a business. They're calling everybody up and they're having these conversations, right? Like, it doesn't actually happen until it happens, right? That's when it becomes reality. But like, you best believe behind the scenes, somebody's picking up the phone like, yo, what's up? What's going on over there? Like, we're just interested. We want to talk, see if you guys would be open for anything like that, right? Those conversations are always happening, right? That's how business evolves. That's how it grows and continues on. And so, yeah, it is exciting of like, yo, did you hear this rumor? It's like, yeah, I'm sure they've called that company up. Why would they not, right? 2 + 2 = 4. Of course they're calling people up. That's their job here, is to call people up and see what's next. And so when it becomes reality, that's the exciting part. Just like the Bethesda deals. Like, now here we are, and it's about to become reality, and this is going to be fun.
You got people in the background just wheeling and dealing. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, you best believe it is right.
They got a team just on the phone constantly trying to swing whatever they can. And They want those headlines. They want those Bethesda level headlines constantly because that gets Xbox and Xbox Game Studios in the mind share of like big, massive games and big, massive developers. And again, like we talked about already, Game Pass is the driver for Xbox right now. So they are going to do whatever they need to do to make sure that you have Game Pass. And they're going to buy whoever they need to buy, and they're going to partner with whoever they need to partner to make it so that Xbox Game Pass is the best place to play and the best deal in gaming. Like they have powerful marketing buzzwords behind Game Pass, and the best deal in gaming. Hands down, I agree with that. I don't think there's any hyperbole by saying that Xbox Game Pass right now is the best deal. So that is a powerful buzzword and a powerful piece of marketing that Xbox has for that service. And I want to see it grow. Give me more. Don't make me buy games. I will if I have to, but come on.
Final small one for you that I would love to see them go out there and try to wheel a deal with. Studio MDHR. We all love Cuphead. We'd like to see them bring that talented team over, give them loads of money, and just say, create whatever you want to do, bring on whoever you need, build this up, build this out. Just like we actually saw one of my favorite games, Miles, is Fall Guys, right? I love Fall Guys. I play it all the time. Now you see Epic Games going into the fold with this team, and they're going to look at it and be like, here's the briefcase full of cash. Here's hundreds of people that can come at your will and help you, right? Imagine that with this team that created Cuphead, the game that you love. Like, the limits are endless. Do whatever you want, right? And so you look at these talented teams and you're like, man, imagine what could happen with the resources and the money that they could have and what they could bring to the table, the limitless ideas to tell them just go play and have fun. So, yeah, I have to give some love to that team because everybody loves Cuphead. We loved the time exclusivity that they had with us, right? We're all dying for that DLC of like when. And yeah, it'd be cool to like back the dump truck full of money up and be like, hey, here's your goal now. Create and have fun. Do whatever you need. It would be great.
Let's go. Cuphead was phenomenal. That was such a cool, weird game. You talk about all these cool, weird games that we love, and we don't see enough of them. And Cuphead is a prime example of, a passionate, super, super, super small team. A couple of dudes making this incredible, one of the best platformers in the last decade, hands down. Absolutely love that game. And I want to see teams like that have the resources they need to succeed. You talked about Bloober earlier. Bloober has incredible ideas. They are a small team with a small budget, generally speaking. The Medium was as much as people call it like an Xbox exclusive, that was a AA independently developed and independently published horror game. But if you give that team the resources to make something big, give them the resources and the team and the tools to make the next kind of Silent Hill successor on a massive scale, I would love that. And I want to see more people take those kind of risks. And business is boring. People don't want to take risks. I get that. You want to have a safety net of money. You want to say, I'm going to put out this game. It's going to make X money. We're going to put out this game next year and it's going to make X money. And that's why we have Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty, because there's a formula and a template that they can look at and say, okay, we're going to make this much at least every year. Call of Duty can be like, we're going to make more than we've ever made every single year because Lord knows why. But that's a good place to be. And I understand why people want to be in that position, but it's also not that exciting. A couple super chats I'm gonna get to real quick here. Michael Kulik, White Owls Inc. would be a nice pickup. Maybe I'm dumb. I'm not familiar with White Owls Inc.
I was just say, Miles, I don't know that one, and I was immediately typing it into my Google search because I don't know that name, and that's a fun one there. Let's take a look at what they got here if I can get it to pop up fast enough. Oh, I don't know on this one actually, Miles.
We're gonna need some backup in the chat. Michael Kulik,
Yeah.
You don't have to super chat. Don't feel the need to super chat it, but let us know some of the projects that they've
Yeah, I
worked
don't know
on.
that name.
We'll circle back to that. And then Rand Out Thor 19 popping in. SnowBikeMike is the man. Where's mine, Rand? What the
Rand is so great, and I love the Xbox 2 podcast. And it's one of those I want to give a big thank you to John B. Like, when we started the Xcast, John B put me onto so many incredible and talented and awesome and unique Xbox creators. He's like, hey, give these guys and gals a chance. Go check them out, right? And like, he put me onto Rand, and I have not looked back. I have consumed all of Rand's content. I watch his YouTube videos the moment they go up. I sit there with my phone and I just watch and I listen to his voice. I think, man, I love sharing the enthusiasm with Rand, right? He's so smart, and him and Jez with the Xbox 2 podcast are fun to tune into, and the
Mhm.
communities that they've created, right, are so awesome. And it's been a blast to dive headfirst into the Xbox community and, make my name in there and just share the enthusiasm. I think a lot of people look to me and just know that, like, I'm just going to bring the fun, right? Like, I'm here to have a good time and talk Xbox with all of you, and like to look around and see the landscape of like the Colt Eastwoods, the Dealers Gaming, and all of his crew over at RDX, and like Miles here with Windows Central, and like to look around and see, like, man, all these guys love Xbox like I do. Like, that's freaking awesome. And I love listening to them on the weekly, share their thoughts, their opinions, talk about the games that they're playing. And this is like what we talked about at the beginning of the show. Miles was like, Xbox connects us. Video games connects all of us, right? And I love being here, and I love seeing the chat, right? Like, this is an extension of you and I, and of Rand, and of the Xbox 2 podcast, and of Colton. To everyone is like, here's this awesome community that loves to talk about Xbox, share their enthusiasm for Xbox, their thoughts, their opinions. And like, I love feeling that. I get goosebumps. I get the warm feelings thinking about all of you, and like how much fun it is to be part of that community, right? Because at the beginning, video gaming was like isolating, right? You were in your room, you were all alone, you were just playing games, you were a gamer, you were a nerd, and like you weren't talking to anybody, right? And that's completely flipped the script, where it's like, now we're all together, we're all around, we can always talk to each other, whether it be on a Discord chat, an Xbox Live party, whether it be on Twitter or social media. And it's like, I want to be surrounded by that. I love that feeling. And most of all, like, I love that fun. I love that positivity. And that's what I'm looking for, right? And I love following people back. I love hearing people on social media. I love checking out their stuff because, like, man, we're all gamers, and I love hearing that. And so seeing Rand come in here, like, I've seen him in my chat before over on Twitch. I hang out in the Xbox 2 podcasts all the time. It's like, I like Rand a lot, and he's a good jabroni. And I love using the word jabroni, Miles. You know that. I say it about myself. I say it about dumb people. I say it about people I love. It's like, that is one good dude right there, people. And if you aren't checking him out, like, you're checking out Miles, myself, and the whole team out there. It's like, man, there's some really cool people out there that I love hanging out with. So shout out to Randall Thor, the man with the million, because I like that
Just
guy.
a
And I
just
know, I'll tell you, Miles, he hates this. He hates when I take a moment and do this. He's told me this before. He's like, I hate when you do this, Mike. And I'm like, I love doing this, Rand. It's my favorite.
Rand is an awesome dude, and Rand's got an amazing sense of humor. I remember before I worked for Windows Central, I remember watching the Xbox 2 with Jez and Rand and talking to people like xCloud Tim Dog on Twitter about random
Yeah.
stuff. Just being a random, like, I did stuff on the side, video production, audio production, always passionate about Xbox and the gaming community. And before I was, actively a part of it, I was, engaging with that content and watching those guys. For years and years, I was doing that. And I had randomly xCloud Tim Dog just sent me a super sweet DM on Twitter like last week. And he's like, hey, bro, I just want to let you know that I'm proud of you. I remember when you were just, random Miles on Twitter hit me up about Xbox stuff and just talking. And we would just talk on Twitter. And he's like, now look at you, Mr. Windows Central. And it's just like stuff like that. It's like there's so many awesome, passionate, genuinely nice people in the Xbox community. Had Rand on. I love the Xbox 2. Super fun. Like, we have a good time. As much as Rand and I have this fake internet beef about him hating Nintendo, I love Rand. Rand's blowing up my DMs about me being an insider because people took that From Software clip out of context, and now it's showing up on Apple News. Like, Rand was just blowing me up. Every time he got a new link, he was hitting me up in the DMs like, bro, you're on Reddit now. Bro. And I'm just like, oh no. Bro, you're in my Discord now. And it's like, having those like relationships with people in the industry is fun. Like, I don't feel like anyone here is trying to be better than anyone else. And that's why, like, we're all kind of on the same level and we can just talk about gaming and have fun. Like, there's no pretension here. Like, all those people you mentioned in the Xbox community, Rand, Dealer, Colt, super sweet, super nice people, and they just love Xbox. And it's super cool to have that community and be able to talk about games with those guys. And it's cultivated a good energy. I feel like, as much as we see loud fanboy console war stuff on Twitter, that's not the majority. The majority is people like us, people in the chat, just having fun with it. So it's awesome. Rand's a good dude. Thanks for stopping by, Rand Althor 19.
I love that. It is the best. He's the greatest. And it's fun to learn from each other, right? Like that's the best part is like no one's one expert, right? Like the coolest part is like you can go to dealer and just talk tech, right? And you're like, oh my God, I didn't know any of that, right? You go to Digital Foundry, you listen to that, you see Jazz out there with his insider takes and like all of the knowledge. It's like cool to learn from one another and see that passion grow and like everybody get better video by video, podcast by podcast, seeing Miles come into his own and like look at that guy and be like, wow, this dude is somebody right now, right? And like that's my favorite part. Is like everybody's learning and growing together. Nobody has the recipe, nobody's perfect. And as much as like the comments will beat you down, every single time you come out of these and you learn a little bit, you grow a little bit. And that's like the point of these podcasts is to talk with your friends, talk with the community, and like learn a little bit, grow a little bit, see what you missed, where you didn't find that fine detail, and like, oh wow, like that's in my back pocket now. Now I know thanks to that guy. Like that's cool, you know. So I love that stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's there's just so many awesome, nice people. Like again, you mentioned the negative comments, and sure, every now and then there are negative comments, and there are people who want to come in and kind of put you down and put what you're doing down and make you question, who you are and your credibility. We all have the imposter syndrome. We all have that to some degree. Like no matter who you are and where you're at, we all have that. But you and I were talking about before the show. At the end of the day, we're all jabronis. No matter who you are, we're all jabronis at the end of the day. So take comfort in that. Just know that, no one's better or worse than you. We're all on the same level and we should all be having fun together. So as long as we can do that, as long as we can talk about games and have fun in gaming, we're going to have a great time and we're going to have some great conversations.
I love that, Miles. Where do we go now? We saying goodbye, or you want to do one more? What do you got? You tell me. It's been an incredible 2.5 hours. You woke me up for my Saturday. It's right. I've seen the sun is now out. I've drank all the coffee and Gatorade I could drink in the world this morning. I'm ready to go out there and seize the day. And I'm really ready to go listen to the Xbox 2 podcast as well, if I do say so myself.
Rand just broke some tragic news real quick. Apparently,
what did he say?
Jez is tired, so there's no Xbox 2. R.I.P. Jez,
that's too bad.
Sleepy.
Still love that guy.
Yeah, bummer to hear. We could have transitioned this party straight over, but yeah, I think I'm going to open it up to just a few. If you guys have any other questions, we'll start wrapping down the show. But yeah, seriously, 2.5 hours has just flown by. It's been wild. Normally we cap the show at about 2. I start winding it down, but we're in 30, and I could keep going for another hour, but probably not going to because
You've done a phenomenal job, Miles, at making me feel comfortable, making me feel confident, keeping the conversation flowing, smiling, laughing, having fun, engaging, follow-up questions, leading the conversation. Like you are doing it, Miles. And that is the best part about doing this is like coming into this, no matter who you are, no matter where you are. Remember, it's like the social aspect of life. You go into these different situations where you meet people for the first time and you feel that anxiety, that fear of like, should I speak up? Should I not speak? Who's going to lead the conversation? Who will be there to make me feel confident and comfortable? And Miles, you did a great job. I'm really impressed.
Really appreciate that.
You made me had a fun time. So always remember that. It's going to be great.
That's the goal of the show. We're here to have a good time, here to have some fun. You're super easy to talk with, dude. Like I said, before we watched, I knew your cadence, I knew your vibe. So I've been watching your stuff for a little while. So it was cool to kind of get you in the hot seat and just have these conversations. And I really appreciate all the compliments. Like, we're trying to build our little video thing over on Windows Central. Windows Central Gaming has been around for a while. It's been established. A lot of people know that. But the video thing is just a little aside. I was doing that kind of part-time, randomly, a few hours a week initially. I just, want to give a huge shout out to everyone who supported us last year because we started 2020 with, I think, about 2,700 subs in 2020. We finished 2020 with about 21,000 subs. So there was a huge amount of growth and support in that channel. And I think we only published maybe 50 videos, probably less than 50 videos in that year. So as that being a little side thing for us, it was awesome to see all that support. So it's been really cool to kind of have this little pocket where I can, cultivate this audience and do my own thing over here. And I'm glad it's connecting with people. Like it's one of those things like, when I edit my own videos, I feel like a massive dork, like looking at myself, listening to myself. I'm like, dude, I suck. I suck so hard. But, that's how we all are. But so it is nice to, see that people connect with it and seeing people message me after the show saying, love the show, love the guests, love the energy. It's huge and it means a lot. And it's, again, having people like you come on makes the show a lot easier. We can just kick back, have a good conversation. There's no anxiety. I don't feel this pressure to put on a face or be someone I'm not. It's just talking about Xbox with my boy SnowBikeMike.
It's easy, baby. That's all I ever want to do is just talk about Xbox and share the enthusiasm. Is
Yeah.
right. You got a super chat from Michael. Michael, you didn't need to do that, but you're incredible. Thank
Oh,
you
he
for the
did?
support on
Okay.
that. You're too good, Michael. You
My-
didn't need to do that, bro. We were there looking for you.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. I saw him put at Miles, and I didn't see any follow-up text. I'm like, okay. All right, so $5 super chat from Michael, the legend, just dominating the super chats right now. White Owls is Swery65 Studios. Oh, okay, Deadly Premonition and D4. That, again, when we talk about weird games, that is the pinnacle of weird games. And D4, incredible. We talked about the Kinect earlier, so a good segue. One of the weirdest, dumbest, best Kinect games was Dark Dreams Don't Die. Did you play that?
Yeah,
The
I
episodic,
did not play that. No, but I've seen it. Yes, I've seen. I've not played that. Is right.
phenomenally stupid is the best way to describe that game. So good. And I would love to see that guy get the backing to just make whatever absurd games he wants. And I would love to play Deadly Premonition 2 above 8 FPS. I picked it up on Switch and whoa, I'm not that much of an FPS snob. Obviously, I've gotten a little spoiled with next gen and 60, but going from my Series X to Deadly Premonition 2 on the Switch, oh, dude, wow, that's jarring. Wow. There's a big difference between 60 FPS and 8 FPS. Let me tell you.
There's a huge difference, is right. It's incredible to see where we came from to where we are today and what the future holds soon enough. You know what I mean? And I love that FPS boost as well, right? We had Jason on the show and we
Yes,
talked
you
about
did.
him and his team from backwards compatibility side and like what they did and like how they're bringing new life to these old games and not only saving the catalog and like bringing value to me, the gamer, right? But like, yo, we tune a couple of things up, we touch it up a little bit, we can actually make it better for you, Mike. And it's like, oh, snap. Am I really going to go
snap.
play Far Cry 4 again? Maybe I will. Maybe I should try Watch Dogs 2 at a higher frame rate, you know? Super Lucky's Tale, 120 frames per second, is buttery smooth. What's the deal? Sniper Elite 4 feels like I'm breaking the video game. The man is moving so fast compared to what I'm used to on that video game, where it feels like I got a cheat code typed in, or he's boosted up on turbo for some reason because he's moving too fast. It's incredible.
Dude, that is a perfect example. I played Sniper Elite 4 a couple months ago when they first added it. It was fine. It was 30 FPS, jarring at first. You kind of adapt to it. Played it a few days ago. Bro, night and day. It's such a better experience. And I hope that FPS boost becomes almost as widely accessible as the auto HDR because we're spoiled with 60 FPS now. It's hard to go back and revisit the catalog, knowing stuff like Alan Wake. Love the game, phenomenal game. 540p, capped at 30 FPS. It's a little hard. It's a little hard to revisit, I gotta say.
I have one for the chat that can help me out right now since we're kind of BSing and hanging out right now. Miles, I talked about it on the post show of the Xcast. I got a problem. Okay. And I got to get it off my chest and I need your help. And I need all of the incredible viewers and listeners out there. I need your help. Okay. So if you're watching late, you can tweet at me, give me your recommendations. I've hit this point with my squad because a lot of people know, and I this is what I love. I'm known for multiplayer games. I play multiplayer games all the time. I'm always surrounded by my friends. I'm making new friends. We're playing multiplayer games on the daily, on the nightly for hours on end. And we've gotten to this point now where we play the same two games, Fall Guys and Call of Duty. And it's an issue because like we've played a lot of that. We're ready to move past that. But we have this weird dynamic of like, there's 4 of us, there's 8 of us. And it's tough to be like, hey, Miles, I need you to go buy this game for $60, knowing that we might only play it for 2 days, right? Like we have a big problem right now that's going on in our group of like, hey, like Mike will buy us all the games. I'm crazy like that. And they refuse to let me do that. Or it's like, hey, like half of us have it, half of us don't. And we got this weird situation of like, what's next? What's going to grab us and keep us? Or what's that good game for a weekend or two where we see that value right now, right? I see Aliens Fireteam coming out, and I have this tough time of like, yo, I'm pumped up about that, and I'm excited for a squad-based horde mode with this Aliens universe similar to Left 4 Dead and World War Z, and I love that. But I know, Miles, I know in the back of my mind, me and my squad are playing that for 2 days, right? Like we're gonna play that in 2 days, we're gonna beat it, and we're not gonna play any more of it, right? And so it's tough for me to look at you and be like, Miles, spend $60, homie. And my friend's like, Mike, I'm not doing that, right? And so I'm at this point now, it's like I need help. We either need the game that will break the code for all of us, or like we need a good Game Pass game to save us money. But like we're having this weird situation now where these games come and go, and it's like we play them. What is that? Second Extinction, First Assault, $30 on Steam. You think we're playing that for more than a day? Like, no way. We're just not doing that, right? And so I'm having a problem with me and my friends. Like, we love that. This is what we're all about. But we have a problem where we can't find the game that sticks, or, buying these $6 games for one day is just ridiculous. And we can't do it anymore,
You and I are on the exact same page right now with our social bubbles for gaming. My friend group and I have been kind of fighting a little bit about us buying these full price games, and then playing them for 2 days and then moving on. I'm like, bro, like I'll do it. We've done it. But to your point, yeah, stuff like Alien Fire Team, gonna buy it, probably gonna play it for 3 days. Like we're in a big drought when it comes to big, substantial multiplayer and especially co-op games. That's why my friend group and I has been replaying all of the Dark Souls, because we're like, I don't know what to play. Like, I don't want to pay $60 for a game we're gonna play for 2 days. Let's just replay through every single Dark Souls game again. Like, that's the rabbit hole that we're going down, and it's tough. I've been getting back into Sea of Thieves, and I don't know if you're a huge Sea of Thieves player, but I've got 700 hours at this point or so in Sea of Thieves. So
I've read the articles, I've seen the videos, I've seen your smiles. Is right. I know the hype is right. I have a good friend named Pirate Steve who is just like you. He's like, he loves it, right? He's the guy to go to. You want to get into Sea of Thieves, you call up Pirate Steve, and he's the guide, right? And we've always had an issue. Like, I see my good friend Kevin A. Sex is in the chat, right? It's like, we've played Sea of Thieves, and yes, they've progressed so much to make it more like beginner friendly, but it still feels like, Miles, where we're just kind of out there, aimless sometimes, right? It's like, where do we do? Where do we go? Am I really going to go to this other island all the way across the map? Sure, we're sailing on a beautiful ocean and the setting's incredible and the Megalodon shows up for 5 minutes and it's an awesome epic fight. But like, are we really going to go all the way across to dig up a chest, to bring it back, to sail back, do it all over again? It's like, we're missing something, Miles. I need you to give me the hype. I need you to say, Mike, you're missing this one piece, because I'm missing something in my Sea of Thieves gameplay where it's like, I either love arena mode because it's fast action and we're enjoying it. I love the serene view, but then there's something in the middle where it's like, yo, this is getting kind of boring. You know what I mean? Like, where are we supposed to go? How do we speed this up just a little bit? What am I missing, Miles?
It's one of those games that I love, but I understand people's criticisms when it comes to being boring. You kind of have to fill the void for yourself when it comes to sailing in between islands. Great time to have some deep heart-to-heart conversations. Talk to the grab some grog, talk to the boys while you sail for 15 minutes to the next island you need to go to. If you want to fish, you want to fill the void, grab that fishing pole, bro. Hunt down some trophy fish. Fill that void while you're sitting on the back watching one of your boys steer while the other two are playing their instruments. Everyone's dicking around. You're smashed into rocks because your homie's got to drive. Nobody's paying attention to the sails or the anchor.
I do that, yep. Yeah. If somebody threw up on Grog, I'm like, yo, JD Neal, if you throw up on me again, I'm going to physically fly out to you and we'll punch you in the arm. Like, I'm sick of you throwing up on me all the time.
Boys get bored, they bust out their phones, so you got one boy engaged, trying to get you to the destination. Everyone else is on Twitter, like, boys, come on, get those poles out. Let's
move these sails. Let's go.
Look for seagulls on the horizon. Look for shipwrecks. All right, let's load this ship up. We got a mission. We're trying to get paid. So yeah, you gotta, I guess, get into character. You gotta have a goal when you go in. So I don't know. I love it because of the world, because there's nothing like it in terms of gameplay. So many cool, unique systems. But yeah, it can be boring. It can definitely be boring. And
it's so beautiful. It's so cool, Miles. And it's like, it just sucks that downtime really, really hurts you and affects you, because there is so much, right? Because you're sailing. You're going between island to island. That's just how it is. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, this game is so beautiful, so cool, so awesome. And I love the idea. But it's like, God damn, I'm grabbing my phone and I'm on Twitter, Miles. It's like, yo, move the thing. I'm like, I don't want to move the thing. Somebody else move the thing. I'm talking to this person. I don't care anymore.
It makes me sad because, yeah, I have like one other buddy who feels the same way about Sea of Thieves, and we were in the thick of it for a long time, like playing every day hardcore. But most of my extended group of like 5 to 8 friends we play with consistently are like, they'll humor me once or twice a month. And like,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
let's boot up the ship, Miles. Let's go. Let's fucking sail. Whatever you want to do. And I'm like, all right, cool, sweet, appreciate it, thanks. Glad you're in. And then yeah, they get on, and then they're just on their phones. I'm like, wow. Wow, you're pulling my immersion from this pirate fantasy, all right?
That's how my friends get with me with Fall Guys now. It's like I am fully addicted to Fall Guys, and like I could play it for hours on end. I've shoutcasted it and I've like done it all. And so like I'm like, yo, you guys want to play Fall Guys? And like, yeah, I guess we'll humor your mic for an hour. And it's like I'm like jumping around, stiff arming small children. I'm fucking going for the crown. And they're like, they've been eliminated round 1. They're like staring into space. I'm like, oh, good job, Mike. You're doing great. And I'm just that try hard kid who's like, I'm freaking out in Fall Guys, y'all. I'm loving this. And so yeah, I feel bad because I pull them back into it all the time. But you know, there's also this interesting situation now. It's like a lot of these games are going 3 players now, which means I got to give the boot to my 4th player. And it's like, I don't like that.
Somebody's getting hurt. People are getting hurt, Mike.
You know, Washburn said it best, one of my friends. It's like, if your multiplayer game isn't 4 players anymore, then get out of my face. You know what I mean? Like, if you're somehow doing this 3 or 2 players, just get out of my face. I'm not here for it, because we grew up with Halo. I grew up with Gears. It's 4-player multiplayer. That's how we do this thing. You know what I mean? It's 4 or up. Figure it out, you know? And so it's like, here came Apex Legends and it blew up. And now it's like, yo, 3 players is kind of tight. Y'all, you want to play 3-player games? Like, no, I don't, because I got a friend here who's going to get the boot and I feel bad for him, you know?
We got Destiny, we got Outriders, we got, I think Warframe's 3-player, we got Aliens Fireteam is 3-player. What's stopped the trend? Shut it down. It's insane. Who did this? Is this Bungie's fault? Are we gonna have to shut Bungie down? Did they make this the mainstay? Because they set the precedent for 4-player and then they killed it. What is going on in this world?
Phil Spencer, buy Bungie, force them to make only 4-player multiplayer games. Move forward. Love it. That's the problem solved. Love that.
All right, hashtag boycott Bungie for me, everyone. Let's get it going.
There we go. Get it trending.
All right, I'm gonna get to a couple super chats here because people are just still dumping them in, and I appreciate y'all. Prediction, Xbox, from JD Gamer, by the way. Prediction, Xbox acquires these publishers: Paradox, Sega, and WB. Single studios include IO Interactive, Techland, People Can Fly, and Bloober Team. What do you guys think? And what's a second super chat? Boys just killing it. Could have put that in the first one, but I do appreciate it. What do you guys think? And what's your prediction? What do you give me 1 or 2 of those that you think is likely and 1 or 2 that is never going to happen?
Bloober Team, likely, small enough, could maybe happen. Let me scroll up to that because that was a lot of you just smashed a lot of names.
I'm just dumping it on you. Yeah.
IO Interactive, I like a lot, right? Like when I look at IO Interactive, they've just had so much success, but at the same time, we know how like that team wants to raise the bar and elevate it, right? And like having the money constraints and the worry in the back of your mind of like, can I provide for all these families that we have under our umbrella, would be so great to see them like, hey, that doesn't matter now. We got you, right? Like create something incredible, because man, that Hitman franchise, this reboot, has changed people's minds on stealth games, right? Like people knew there was a stealth games diehards who loved it, from Splinter Cell to the original Hitmans and everything in between. We're like, yo, stealth games are dope. And people were like, I'm not into that right now. Like, I don't know about that. And then IO Interactive was like, hey, let's rechange up the formula and make something incredible. And now people are like, can't consume enough of it, right, Miles? Like my buddy Washburn never played a Hitman game. He played Hitman 3. The next day, I bought Hitman 1 and 2. I can't stop. I'm addicted to this, right? It's like, oh man, IO Interactive has found the formula. I am a little worried about James Bond. I trust in the team and what they can do, but like what we've seen before does not lend what my mind sees as a James Bond, right? The shooting's not there. It feels kind of clunky and weird, but like everything else, from the world building to the stealth to blending and stuff, like James Bond's going to be a banger. So yeah, IO Interactive and Bloober Team, I could see that. I love the idea of WB. I love the games. I love the IPs that are underneath that umbrella. And, you know, that was a big conversation with the Bethesda talks, was like, yo, WB's in the mix. What could we see with WB? And it's like, man, I would love to see that. I don't know if that will happen, but, you know, Sega as well, kind of big. I'm going to go with Bloober Team, IO, and WB would be my dream situations
The
here.
trifecta, yeah, that's
The trifecta.
I'm 100% on the same page with you there. Bloober Team, I've been singing their praises for a while. People, have their mixed opinions about the medium, about their previous projects. But the important thing to look at with Bloober Team is when it comes to horror games, not only do they absolutely love horror and the genre, but they have great ideas. You can say what you will about animations, the overall kind of polish of the product itself, but the fundamental ideas that they're presenting are incredible. And to see that team have a chance to shine would be amazing for me personally, as a huge horror nerd. I love horror games. I will play any and all, even the most trash horror Steam games you can imagine. I'm in it. I'm diving down. I'm checking it out. But yeah, they've proven themselves with a small budget and a small team. They've proven to be very talented and very competent. So let's go. AAA Bloober Team project confirmed for Xbox. Psych, just kidding, please, God.
Don't put it in there. Miles is that guy who's addicted to phasmophobia, and he's like, "Yo, put down the rock salt. Now get that seance stick, start rubbing it together. Y'all know about this?
Are you there?
Check
Are you there? Are you there?
Check the freezing temps. Mike, are you checking the temp? And I'm over here doing this. Like, yeah, I'm sure, Miles, I'm doing it.
Maria Garcia, show yourself.
Oh man, what a game that was. What a game. What a time.
Just a blast. So Bloober Team, Sega would be awesome just for the history of the brand. Like I like Yakuza, but I'm not a big fan of I'm not a big fan of most Sega IP. Like I'm not a big Sonic guy. But excuse me. Sega would be awesome just for the history of it all. Looks like Mike has left his chair, but we'll circle back on that. But yeah, for me, if I'm picking two, Bloober Team Sega would be rad. IO would be awesome as well. Another super chat from Kevin Ace X. Quick question from the press pool. Mike just achieved 100 gamer score, so I was wondering if he will ever catch up to my gamer score. Almost 200K, FYI. When he gets back, I'll throw that his way. I think I'm getting close. I'm at one. What am I? I'm at. Oh my god, what am I at? I think I'm at like 160, 170. I'm getting there. I'm breaching that 200K mark. I'm no Randall Thor, not hitting the millions anytime soon, but whew. And again, we still have over 200 people hanging out, and this will be the absolute record-breaking episode of Xbox Chaturdays in terms of runtime. So I really appreciate all of you guys hanging out. It's been a blast. It's been a great show. It's been a lot of fun. Mike's a rad dude. If you guys don't follow him, I'm sure a ton of you do. Follow him on Twitter at SnowBikeMike. Kinda Funny Xcast as well. Yeah, and hopefully he gets back here in a sec. We can wrap this down, but I do appreciate y'all. And any questions about that From Software sci-fi thing that I apparently confirmed before we go? Settling into the seat.
I'm back, and I'm excited as can be. Let's keep it rolling.
Pizza? You get some food? What's good?
Oh man, I just had to stand up for a quick moment, take a step away, but I'm back now. I'm back.
Oh, with salt gravy. So quick question, and then we're gonna shut this down because we've been
Let's
rocking, rolling. Kevin Ace is calling out your gamer score. He says,
"Oh, Kev,
quick question from the press pool, Mike. Mike just achieved 100K gamer score. So I was wondering if he will ever catch up to my gamer score, almost 200K. When are you hitting 200K, Mike? The people need to know."
You know what, Miles? I think I got to buy a lot of those Radalika games and just grind away at the easy achievements, because I have had my account for 14 years now, and I have just surpassed 100,000 gamer scored. Like we talked about during Maneater, right? You and I have that was the first game I ever tried to truly 100% go for all the achievements, get that 1,000 gamer score. And so it's fun. Like before I hit 100,000, Miles, we went through my gaming list, and how I play games is I get the first 5 achievements. So it'll be 5, 1, 2, 10, 0. It's we were going down hundreds upon hundreds of games that I've owned. And it's whoa, Mike, clearly you don't understand achievements, so you're not going for them, right? And so it's been really cool of really getting ingrained with the Xbox community and looking around at what people are passionate about, from studio acquisitions to just gaming, online multiplayer, and now over to achievements and gamer score, right? I've made friends with Ray Navarez, and it's really cool to hear his stories, right? You see Stallion and Maka making these guides along with Chivo, and it's man, look at these dudes, right? they love achievements. They love making these guides. They love talking to the community about it. And I've made friends with just like the community of like, Shizblocka, Kelly D, talk with Rand, the man with a million. And it's like, wow, like people really love achievements. And like, that's never clicked with me, right? I like the idea of like, find 50 skulls or collect 100 of these. Like, that is a fun idea, but like, nothing's ever drove me to be like, yo, I got to drive up this score and get all these achievements. And it's funny that Kevin brings this up because next week, our topic of conversation for the XCast will be achievements, right? Your good friend Jez wrote a great article on Windows Central of like, where are achievements going? What's next? And he did a really good job of like showing where it started, where it's at now, and like, what do we want from this? And that is the question, right? And that's not one for me to truly answer. I can only give you like what I think, what I want, but like, it is fun to like look around at people like Stallion and be like, yo, Stallion, like, what do you want? Like, what is the point of this? Like, is there something that will make you smile and make you want this? Hey, Ray, you're a wild man. Like, what is gonna make you come back to this and love it, right? And so it's really fun of like, what's next? And for me, I feel like 100,000 is a big milestone, and I'm happy to get it. But like, I look up at Kevin with 200,000. Look at like Shizblocker with 700, Rand with a million. I'm looking up like, there's no way. There's no way I can do this, right? This is impossible. How do people do it? And it's really, really fun. So I'm excited to have that conversation. I guess I got to flip the question back to you because I know Kevin's just teasing me. He knows I won't do it. He knows I can't do it. I can't buy those Ratalaika games. I just can't do it, Miles. I did one of them to get me close to 99,000, and I played it for 5 minutes. It's like, I'm never playing this again. Like, I'm never doing this again. No way. I can't believe people would do this. And so, yeah, Miles, like, what's your gamer score? Where do you fall on achievements and gamer score? And like, do you want to see this evolve, or do you just want to kind of see this go to the wayside? You know what I mean?
When achievements first launched on the 360, that was game changing. That was massive. Never had we seen this cool kind of social element to like things that we would normally do in a game anyway, things that we'd normally talk to our friends about anyway. It was cool to have this like quantifying title and number associated with it. As the numbers get bigger and bigger, I care less and less about achievements. There are certain games. I think I've played probably 1,000 games on Xbox, and I probably have 5 games that I have like 100% of the achievements in. So,
Wow.
so I don't do it often. I'm working on it for Dark Souls right now, and that's just because I have nothing else I'm that interested in playing. So I'm trying to force myself to have a reason to just replay Dark Souls again. That's what this is. I'm like, like I could just replay Dark Souls again just for fun, or I could say I'm doing it for the achievements and replay through Dark Souls for the 10th time or whatever it is. So I don't do it for most games. I would love to see the system kind of revamped, and as much as trophies are a step in the right direction, you have the platinums, you have the completion, so you have your little badge and your little token that says I did this and it was cool. I want to see it evolved even further than that. I want to have some sort of unlock. I miss the Xbox avatar unlocks. Like, you do something sick, you get a nice little t-shirt. Give me an animated background. If I get every single achievement in Halo Infinite, give me a dope Master Chief animated background. Like, give me something like that that I can really show off on my dashboard. Give me some reason that I can give me something I can tangibly have to be excited about, other than my number's really big. I think my gamer score is it's between 150 and 170,000 right now. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's something like that. I'm getting close-ish to 200K, but do I care? No. Am I going to play Barbie's Horse Adventure? Rand, if you're still in here? No. But I get it. It's cool to have that, I guess, gamer cred, the gamer street cred. You have this big number that says, I'm this much of a gamer. I'm 1.5 million% a gamer, or however you want to quantify that.
I like that, and I'll actually piggyback off of that. So, like, you got me thinking. You said like the dynamic theme would be really cool, right? I love that, right? And the Xbox avatar. Wow, what a time! What a place that was. Those have quickly gone to the wayside. I remember dumping $5 for a T-shirt on that and being like, "What am I doing in life right now? Why am I buying PJ pants for my Xbox avatar?" But I did it, and I ride that Pegasus, right? I ride that Pegasus. I twirl the basketball on my finger. I do that stuff. But actually, here's one for you to think about. We saw towards the launch of Xbox, and we haven't heard much about this or any kind of, I haven't asked the question though. We saw on people's Xbox profile, they started to put these badges next to your name. Remember, you've seen like they have the year, which is the big badge, but like they had these smaller ones of like Project X Cloud beta tester, and they had other ones for like Team Xbox. And you're thinking to yourself, like, man, could those be cool? Because I know I wanted that. I was like, I tested Project X Cloud, like I want that tag next to my name, and I never saw that evolve. I don't have any badges next to my name, right? So it's like, could we make something cool with that as well? Because like you said, right, it's not just about the number. The number is a cool show off piece, but like I want something more where it's on my dashboard, it's on my profile, and you click on it and you see that like bang right in your face. I think that would be really big for me as well. Because I think of like, oh, of course we could do Microsoft reward points. We could give you free money. And it's like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose of the game now, especially with the Radalaka games. So it's like, hey, if you spend $5, we'll give you 1,000. It's like, okay, but like, what am I going to give this guy back? Am I giving him $5 back? Am I going to give him $300 of Microsoft rewards? Like, what are we going to do here? So I don't know if you can tangibly tie it to money, right? Because then things get kind of gray and weird. But I would like to see something more on like the badge or the show off side for sure. I like that. I like that insight there.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. The money's cool. Like, obviously, I'm not going to turn down free money, and if I'm just getting money for getting achievements, I'm going to claim it. Obviously, that's cool, but it's not. It doesn't scratch the same itch. Like having a badge on your profile would be awesome. Like if you could click on someone's profile and they have like their badge with the number of years, and then like a badge that says like I got every achievement in Dark Souls 1. Like give me something I can slap on there, like pin on my profile, so people know as soon as they click on V Miles V on Xbox, they know he's a true gamer because he got every achievement in Dark Souls.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be dope, Miles.
So that stuff, yeah, I would love to see. They need to expand on it in some big ways. And with the backwards compatibility approach, I wonder if that complicates things a bit more. Does that mean like certain games would not get these same features, or they would have to disable achievements for existing games if they create a new system? And I'm sure that's kind of the phase they've been in for years. Like, how do we do it? How do we either maintain the existing library, or how do we just prepare people to forget about what Gamerscore was and here's a new system? Because it's probably way more complicated than we think it is.
Oh yeah, you know it's very complicated. It's ingrained in all of us. Is right. Like you cannot Rand, the man with the million. You can't take it away from him, right? Sure, Rand is like grown a lot. Like you listen on the podcast, and he's like, yeah, whatever. Like I did that. We've been there, done that. But like, it's tough to believe. Of like, we're making a new system, y'all. And it's like the Ray J meme where they take it off your chest or something like that, you know? So yeah, we'll be excited. But yeah, that's the conversation we're gonna have, especially with me hitting the 100,000 and what that felt like, and meeting all these people that are really ingrained in it. Of like, now Jez brings up a great article, and that is the conversation a lot of people have had. Sure, it's a very small minority. Let's mind you, like, I bet if we took a poll on Xbox gamers, this isn't going to be massive, right? But there's a small vocal minority that wants to see things elevate and evolve. We're in a new generation, and it will be interesting to see. And so that's the conversation we're going to have next week on the Xcast of like, hey, Gary and Paris. And like, the best part is like, do you think Gary Whitta really cares about achievements? I promise you he does not, right? It's gonna be a learning experience for Gary. So it'll be fun to like look at my co-host and bring on an awesome guest and be like, yo, let's talk about this, because it is on people's minds and it is up next, essentially. And also put the achievements on my phone app. You know, what happened to that? It used to be on my phone app. Now it's gone off the phone app. I love the phone app. Let's elevate the phone app. Let's continue to double down on this phone app. What the heck happened there?
That was a big L. I get that they rebuilt the entire app, so they're slowly reintroducing all these features. But yeah, for them to launch the app without achievements, which quite frankly, my friends tab and the achievements were the only reason I looked at it. Actually, on the store too. We can't even look at the store. What is this
great.
app?
I know.
What is this app? Like I can look
elevate
at
the app.
Yeah, the app needs some work. Thankfully, Jason Ronald and the team have addressed that. Okay, that stuff is coming very soon. There's going to be some, features added to the app at least. Let's at least get the app on par with everything else. Because yeah, at this point, outside of like saving a screenshot, which I do like, that feature is really convenient. Having it just automatically upload to my phone, I can save it, post it on Twitter. Big ups on that. That works really well. But otherwise, I don't use it. And it's sad.
Does that feature work for you? Like, quick question before we leave. Like, does that feature actually work for you? Because I've noticed that it takes forever to upload for me.
I was having tons of issues where sometimes it would work flawlessly. I would get the alert on my phone that says it's been uploaded. I would click on it.
Yeah.
And then my actual library of stuff that was on there was like a month old. Like it didn't have like a month worth of screenshots. I'm like, okay. So what I've done is I've downloaded the Xbox beta app. So I'm using the
Okay.
Xbox beta app, which ironically works better than the full-fledged release more consistently. So if you're having issues with Game Pass Ultimate or the Game Pass app not tracking your daily logins or the screenshots not uploaded on the basic Xbox app, get the preview Game Pass app and then get the beta Xbox app. I've had some people tag me because they've had issues with both of those things. And yeah, sadly, the preview and beta apps are working better than the main apps. But so that's what
Good
I
to
would
know.
recommend.
I'll check that out.
Yeah.
Are you shooting yours, since we're talking about it, are you shooting your stuff in 4K, or have you dialed it back down? Because I noticed, right, you have a lot of settings. So you got a lot of options, which is very, very cool, right? The idea that you can shoot in 4K, you can capture in 4K, and then as well, like if you go down to 1080p, we'll give you a longer record time, which I like as well. And so it's tough to tell, like, what are you doing there? And I also noticed, like, I think I have so many, right? Like Miles, I'm clicking that button so much. I'm
Bing, bing,
sharing
bing.
all the time, right? And I think I have so many where the thing is like backed up where it's like, yo, we're still trying to upload from 5 months ago, Mike. Like, slow it the F down, big dog. You're gonna be all right. And so maybe I'm having problems, but like, what are you are you shooting 4K?
I'm doing 4K, and I will say there is a bit of a delay. So I'll take a screenshot and then I'll forget about it. I'll be playing the game for another 30 minutes or so, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, screenshot was uploaded to Xbox Live. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. And then from there, I'll get the notification. So it seems like with 4K, if you're in a game, it takes a hot minute to upload that.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too, Miles. Like, maybe because I'm in 4K, it's taking some time. Because like I'll be furiously clicking on, I'm like, freaking upload, dude. But I'm also like Warzone slaying out at the same time. It's like I don't think it can do both at once. You got to calm down, Mike. You know?
Yeah, if you
So
close a
it's
game,
a learning curve.
it seems to like go immediately. But when the game's open, it's chugging. It's chugging
Ugh.
along. So they're working on that
Miles,
as well. Captures have been bad on the Xbox Series X, really bad. Video especially is, in my opinion, unacceptably bad in terms of bitrate, in terms of quality, in terms of audio cutting out. So that is something I hope they address in the very near future. HDR is completely broken. Can't even record in HDR and have it work. So I hope that gets addressed because it went from being okay on the Xbox One X to being really bad on the Series X. So I'm a video guy. I need those clips. I need them clips. So I'm probably care about it more than the average person, but it's really frustrating to record a game clip, put it in Premiere, and then have it be like gray and black and then have no audio. And I'm like, bro.
Bro, help me out here, bro. You know it. You and I both know I didn't capture this sick clip with no audio, bro.
So little side gripe, but yeah. All right, we've been going for 3 hours, so we got to shut this down. But this holds the record for the longest Xbox Chaturdays,
Oh my god,
hands down by a margin of probably 50 minutes. But dude, it's just been flying. Tons of great conversations. Huge shout out to everyone in the chat supporting. If you like the video, hit that like. If you're watching after the fact, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And then Mike, before we shut it down, where can people catch you? And yeah, plug away if you need to. But yeah, you already talked about next week's Xcast, but where can people find you on Twitter?
let's have some fun. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your guy, SnowBikeMike. You can find me on all my social media accounts at SnowBikeMike. Of course, where I post cute pug photos of my two dogs, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And I talk about multiplayer games because, you know, I love playing with friends, and that's the best part about it. You can catch me live each and every weekday, Monday through Friday, over on twitch.tv/Kinda Funny Games, where I am a new full-time host over with Team Kinda Funny. And of course, they allow me to host my own Xbox podcast with the Rogue One, Gary Whitta, and the Paris Lily, the Kinda Funny Xcast, each and every Saturday. When you're watching your Xbox Chaturdays here with Miles, you can enjoy the Xcast as well. So have some fun. But that has been me. Thank you so much for the love and the support. And Miles, thanks for bringing me on and having a great conversation with me. It was so much fun.
Dude, absolutely. Anytime. Loved having you on. Was a blast. Literally, time just flew by. Yeah, it was getting towards 2 hours and like, oh, wow, like that is insane. So stoked to have you on. Xcast is a great show. Amazing panel. Top tier plug there at the end. Absolutely killed it. And yeah, we're going to wrap this up. But thanks, everyone. Have a blessed Saturday, and we'll catch you next time.